On avait venu en 21 il y a 3 ans, ça avait beaucoup plu, beaucoup intéressé. On s'est dit, dans le commerce, on est souvent ambitieux, on se dit, allez, il faut aller encore plus haut. Donc là, je crois que
Bonjour, yes, oh wow, bonjour mesdames et messieurs. We're coming to you for the STIHL Timbersports French National Championships from the Pyrenees, from Parc d'Exposition du Comminges to be precise. And this is also a kind of dress rehearsal for the upcoming World Championships just around the corner in November. They're going to be in Toulouse. By my side, as always, the man whose analysis are as sharp as a steel axe blade, Troy Mannering. Welcome.
I thought you said menace there for a second, which could also be true, but thank you very much, Floaty. Nice to be on stage with you again here. Looking forward to a great competition once again. The story of the day for me is there are 3 guys that are going to be running for the top of this competition. And as always, Pierre Puybaret, if he wins this, it will be his 9th win.
Yes, indeed.
Unbelievable. He will be then representing France at the World Championships because France gets a bye as they are hosting this year. We do still have 2 more competitions this season, but that's more to come later on. We'll give you all those details as we go along. Lots of competition ahead of us, but let's get over to the stage first and meet some important people.
Oh, yeah. They are already our judges. You can see Radu Katsako on the left. We've got Bart Janssen standing right next to him. And hopefully we're going to get to see Jules Janssen as well, because he's our video judge, one of the most important people, taking care of everything and making sure that STIHL Timbersports works the way it works. Absolutely precise and absolutely fair.
Yeah, there we see Bart Janssen. Right next to him was Radu. I had a nice dinner with Radu last night in the hotel before I did a little bit of work on online. Bart Janssen, always important. And of course, who you just mentioned, Jules Janssen, our video judge. His waves have become almost automatic to us as he is in studio there, turns around and gives us a wave. They're a very important group in there because they make sure that all of the online timings are really taken care of.
Oh, and that's the moment we've all been waiting for, our athletes arriving, starting with Dominique Fuchs.
The least French name out there.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, next coming up on stage, Julien Meyer.
He was 5th here at the French qualifier in Le Devely. I've tried to learn all those names, but it was a French qualifier just a month ago.
There's a young man that the French have high hopes for, Loïc Voisson. He was just 2 years ago a rookie and has made his way up the rankings of the pros fairly quickly and fairly well.
Yeah, 25 years of age, and like you mentioned, 5th at the World Championship, the Rookie World Championship in 2022, so definitely somebody to look out for in the future.
Coming up on stage now, I'm not going to call him a dark horse, but he is one of the top 3 for me, Guillaume Moore.
3 times silver at the National Cup, 3 times silver at the National Trophy. So, yeah, why not? Might be his year.
It's very possible. I mean, some of these guys, they work. It never goes anywhere. And then all of a sudden, they'll have a breakout season. And I'm hoping to see that for Guillaume Moore this year. There we see Anthony Prieur coming up on stage.
5th last year at the National Championship, so he's going to be dying to get onto that podium.
I haven't seen him grimace once the whole time we've been here. He's just got a permanent grin on his face.
Very true.
All right, next up, coming up on stage, and I hope I don't murder his name here, Christophe Tricas.
Sounded good to me, by the way, bro.
I hope so.
Haven't seen him compete for quite some time, to be honest, but who knows, he might have practiced in silence.
It happens. Next up, Gilles Giguet.
Legend. Giguet, yes.
Giguet, excuse me, Gilles Giguet.
Oh, look at the gentleman taking off his hat.
Absolutely. One of the elder competitors here. Love to see that. Gives me hope.
And a 5 times champion, so going to be interesting to see what he's going to be able to do here, just like Cyril
Marchal. He has been around the block. He's got pedigree. He absolutely knows what needs to be done. He's another guy that could take that podium away from Pierre Puybaret, but he's got a lot of competition in front of him here.
Talk about a lot of beard coming up now.
Pierre-Louis Poisson, big man.
5th at the National Championships in 2022. Don't think he performed last year, but
no, we would have recognized that beard.
Yeah, it doesn't come from overnight. Absolutely true.
Next up on stage, Adrien Coteau. He's one of the younger athletes that's coming up here.
Bronze medalist of 2023 at the national champ. So, and he seemed very motivated when we went backstage. So he's ready.
There's a lot of stretching and jumping jacks going on. All right, coming up next onto the stage will be Alexandre Maurice. Alexandre is another one of those guys that could very well take the top of the podium today. And as I said, there are 3 guys that are in my mind that are really going to be vying for it. And that's Maurice and, of course, Pierre Puybaret.
Oh, look at the determination in his face. Runner-up last year.
Quick wipe of Pierre's face as he gets ready to come up on stage. The minute he hits that stage, he is all business. But backstage, he's just a goofball. But he is a fantastic...
I'm going to tell him you said that.
Yeah, you can. I mean, he knows it's true. It's there's no doubt about it. I mean, he is a fantastic timber sports athlete. He's been 8 times champion. If he gets it again this year, it'll be 9 times. That's a big number for a very gentle giant.
Oh, yeah. There's not a lot of athletes internationally who can claim to be 8 times champion.
All right, folks. Well, there are your 12 athletes that will be competing in the men's pro competition here today.
Looking strong.
Looking strong and good to go. I've got some headspace there for these guys. I've got my favorites. Like I said, the top 3 guys for me. But the thing is with timber sports and really anything can happen out there, it just depends. Sometimes you have a little bit of, we'll call it in a hockey terminology, puck luck. Sometimes you don't. And it's really what it comes down to is, log choice, axe choice, saw choice, and here we go.
And it's 12 athletes, 3 rounds, and everything you need to know about the competition format, well, that's coming up right now.
The STIHL Timbersports individual competition. In the first round, all athletes compete in 3 disciplines: the underhand chop, the stock saw, and the standing block chop. The times achieved will be converted into points upon completion of each discipline. In round 1, a difference of 1 point applies in each discipline, thus the fastest athlete received 12 points and the slowest only 1 point. Any rule infraction will result in a disqualification, and the athlete will receive 0 points for that discipline. At the end of the first round, the athletes with the lowest scores are eliminated. Only 8 athletes make it to the second round. In this second round, the remaining athletes compete in the single buck and the springboard for increased scores. With 2 points difference between placings, the fastest athlete now receives 16 points and the slowest receives 2. The 2 athletes with the lowest total points are eliminated at the end of round 2. Only the top 6 reach the third round. In the third round, anything is still possible in the hot saw, as an increased score interval of 3 points applies in this final round. The fastest athlete can score up to 18 points at the hot saw, the slowest only 3 points. The athlete who manages to achieve the highest total score across all 3 rounds is the new champion.
Well, that sounds pretty cool, doesn't it?
It definitely does.
I love it already. Of course, we want to know more about the first discipline and more about the tool that's going to be used. And of course...
Speaking of that,
this
is a competition racing axe. It is
sharp as a razor blade.
Incredibly sharp. You can shave with it. That's not going to be happening here in studio today, folks. I don't know. That's risky. These are not light. I've got this in my hand. It's about 8 kilos. It's very, very heavy, and these guys wield this thing like it's a straw out of a drinking cup. So let's take a closer look at the tool and discipline for
underhand
what's coming
chop
up here.
The axes used in timber sports definitely can't be bought at your local hardware store. Made from special steel, the blade is hand sanded with an angle of 13 to 16 degrees. It's custom built and carefully adjusted for each competition. The weight is around 3 kilos and it's about 80 centimeters long. The blade is so sharp that you could shave with it. underhand chop. In the past, the underhand chop technique was used to split logs. Standing on a horizontally anchored block, the athletes cut through a 32-centimeter log. The block has to be worked from both sides.
And there we have the start list for this underhand chop, starting with Loïc Vincent taking on Christophe Trincas, followed by Gilles Guiguet against Dominique Fuchs, Pierre-Louis Poisson against Anthony Preur, followed by Cyril Marchal and Adrien Courteau. Then in heat number 5, Julien Meyer against Pierre Puybaret, and in heat number 6, finally, Alexandre Maurice against Guillaume Moore. Yeah,
wow,
lots to look forward to.
Almost fluent. Very well
almost, done. Very almost.
All right, there's our first heat lineup there. Loïc Vincent going up against Christophe Trincas. Loïc has struggled with this discipline in the past. I think probably he's focused on it quite a bit, so we should see hopefully a personal best time from him in this one. These guys are always looking for that. They're always looking for the fastest possible time. Just to give you an idea of the pro level, the underhand chop world record is 11.81 seconds. That's amazing.
That's out of this world. And these guys are amazing athletes, but
it's incredible
just
to watch
what's
them.
going to be happening in Toulouse in November.
Okay, athletes ready.
Oh, nice start.
Very nice start. Loïc was right in there, so it's clear he's been working hard on this. Now, the key is to try and get into that first side as quickly as possible and switch over to the other side and start working on the final split through. And you can see there, Loïc onto the other side of his block fairly quickly, as well as Christophe. Both of them pretty well even in the time with each other, as we've just passed 23 seconds, so we're not going to see a world record here, but it's looking very good. And Loïc looks like he's been working hard on this discipline. Christophe is almost through his block. It's not going to be very far now for either of these guys here. And there you go. Personal best for Loïc Vincent, a 34.82. Well done by the young Frenchman. And that tells you all you need to know about what he's been doing. And we have a personal best for Christophe Trincas.
What a way to start the competition.
Fantastic. Love that. Love it.
And like you said, everybody seems to have been working. And to get a personal best here at the National Championships, that's brilliant. But let's wait for the decision of our judges. Radu, hopefully telling us.
Okay, both cuts are good.
Yes.
So one of the things that we should point out when they say both cuts are good, people might be asking, well, why? Well, because there are a few things that happen here. For instance, the start. If you run the start a little bit too early, then the whistle, you could get a false start. If you cut into the foothold on the block, you could also be disqualified. And that's where you see those lines drawn there. Now, the footholds are an important safety aspect, and if you cut into the foothold, you risk hitting your foot, which you don't want to do. And so that's why these judges are there. They're looking at where the cuts are coming in. And you can see that final driver there from Loïc. It was very close to the foothold on the left-hand side, his left-hand side, our right. So it was a bit risky, but they judged it as being okay.
Here we go. There's heat number 2 coming up. And you want to read the names?
Not really. Okay. Gilles Guiguet going up against Dominique Fuchs. Both of them see their personal best there. Gilles Guiguet a little bit faster personal best than Dominique Fuchs. So Dominic will be definitely working hard to try and get under a minute. And Gilles Guiguet, as you said, he's been around the block.
He's a legend.
He's a legend, yeah. And he knows exactly what needs to be done. What still amazes me, and it doesn't matter in what country we're talking about, the older athletes are just so efficient with their cuts. And look at the way he started. He brought that axe up to bear just before the go, and then he had his driver on that go, perfectly lined up. And you could see there, Fuchs, he's chopping a little bit steppy, but he's getting in there, some nice big chips flying about. And you see that Guiguet has moved his hands up on the axe slightly. He's barely choking up on it when he does move up, and he was over to the other side.
Physicality is unbelievable.
Yeah, he was over to the other side of his block in under 20 seconds. So this is looking like a really good run for Giguet.
I mean, he's a 5-time national champion, but I'm not going to tell you what years that was. So. Oh, look at him go. Brilliant. That is impressive.
Yeah,
that's what we love to see.
He's got a wide open face on the second side there. 42.71. That's not a personal best for Giguet by any stretch of the imagination, but Fuchs is looking like he may get there, and he's done it. He's got himself a personal best in under a minute. Well done by Dominic Fuchs to get there in under a minute. That's a fantastic result. Now we just need to have a good cut.
And congratulations, both cuts are good.
All right, so it is confirmed both cuts are good. A nice start to the competition here with 3 personal bests so far.
How about that?
And Gilles Giguet is the only guy who doesn't have a personal best, but boy, was he quick to get to the second side of that block. You could see here there was a little bit of a wobbly moment there for Fuchs as he kind of got off balance, but then he regained it and got back to work. Now, those are the kinds of things that really can change the time. And I imagine that he had not had that, his time would have been that much better. Little step down there by Giguet as he had to do one more driver to make sure he was clean through on the cut. And the final driver there by Dominic Fuchs. Very well done. So,
Achtung, Studio, kommt wieder.
all right, so we're just kicking people out of our
That's
studio.
what we love to do.
Get out of here. So that was nice. We've got 2 heats in the books already.
3 personal
Three
bests.
personal bests. Love to see that. And I mean, you know, you may not think, oh, personal best is not even coming close to the world record or national record or something like that. But you know what? These athletes are like, so what? I'm improving step by step. So that's what we like to see, and that's where these personal bests really are for the headspace as well. Very important.
And of course, these records very often come from overseas because that's where this original extreme sport originally started. And just to give you a bit of a feel for that, we've got a clip coming up for you to explain more or less everything.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Expert woodsman who can cut down a tree more easily than most people can chop one up. When it really comes to tackling large lumps, you can't beat the men of the forestry companies.
An axeman's gathering. This is Thomas losing the most that gets it. Look at this, Komarek is playing a great game of catch-up.
Wow. Wow, it does get me every time. I love it. Great clip.
It's funny to watch those old clips too because they had different sized logs and it was all over the map. But it's really become, let's call it professionalized, because we see that all the blocks that these guys are cutting for the standing block, for the underhand, for the tree or the springboard, they're all the same size. They've all been chopped down to the same size. But we have to point out that this is a natural product. So sometimes the luck of the draw is that you get a block that's soft and can be cut through really quickly.
Is that the luck of the puck you were mentioning?
Yeah, puck luck, exactly. And sometimes you get a block where there's a knot inside and it just makes life really difficult. And the axe that we actually have here in studio has a chip out of it, believe it or not.
Because of that.
Because of that. And so those are sometimes things that happen. And the minute a chip gets hit out of that axe, that edge becomes less effective, and
athletes don't like that.
They don't like that.
No, they really don't like that. I'm not sure about next heat.
We'll see.
Hopefully they have more luck. Let's welcome Pierre-Louis Poiseau and, of course, Anthony Prieur. Oh, look at the focus.
Yeah. You can see on the bottom left-hand side of your screen there the personal best of Anthony Prieur, 46.93, and therefore Pierre-Louis Poisson. Both of these guys really evenly matched up. Prière really ready to go on this one. He was excited. Now look at Poisson. He's got a quick pace there. He's really moving that axe fast. So
wow.
for the average hitter, that's like 3 hits for every one of mine, right? And he's going to get through there fairly quickly. The drawback to that is the accuracy is not there, but he's cutting so much so quickly that the accuracy really doesn't matter in that case. If you can be accurate and fast like that, then you have a devastating combination. But you can see the accuracy is not really on point with Poisson, but he doesn't care. He just wants to get through that block as quickly as possible. We should also point out that this is not elimination, and there he does it, 35.49, and that is a great time by Poisson. That puts him in second place in the underhand chop, plus he's got himself a personal best, and Prière gets a personal best as well with a 43.26. He's sitting in fourth place in the underhand chop currently, so great job by both these guys.
You're starting to love this, huh?
Oh yeah, starting, never stopped.
No, but I mean national championships and starting off with 5 personal bests.
It's amazing.
With 6 athletes having been competing. You know, it's crazy.
Both cuts are good.
That's nice. So we've got it official now, and there's always going to be slight time adjustments that you could see by Anthony Prière. His time actually improved to 43 even, and Pierre-Louis Poisson, and his time improved to 35.19. And the reason for that is they have 4 timers on electric buttons sitting in front of these guys, that when they see the log split, it will be, a button will be pushed by each of the 4 timers, and then those times get correlated and checked by our competition control center in STIHL Janssen. And there you can see those last couple of drivers. But look at that. Look how steppy and choppy it is in there. A really accurate cutter will cut smooth sides. And in this case, Poisson, he didn't care. He just wanted to get through that block, and it worked for him.
And it did, yeah. And also after having seen that historical clip to talk about these technical measurements and the precision that we're working at STIHL Timbersports in the year 2024 is amazing. And of course, we're starting to see the athletes that really want to go for the podium today now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's heat number 4, Cyril Marchal and Adrien Courteau.
Adrien was 4th at the French Rookie Cup in 2017 and 7th in 2016. So we see improvement for him. And this would be his first pro competition, let's call it.
Athletes, ready.
So playing with the big boys now.
Yeah, especially with Cyril Marchal on stage with him. You can see Cyril gets right in there. 2 drivers on the left, 2 drivers on the right, and then gets a nice big chip flying off of his block. Adrien Courteau.
Whew.
He's looking pretty good, though. He's got pace. Oh, and he's over to the other side quick. He's actually ahead of Cyril Marchal on that second side, but Cyril Marchal has very accurate drivers, so you can see as he gets into that second side, it shouldn't be too steppy if he's on point today, but Courteau looking very good as he's almost through that. It shouldn't be too long now before he splits it. There you go.
Oh, best
whoa! 32.40's got the top time. What a run by Courteau. Absolutely fantastic. 41.13 by Cyril Marchal.
And the crowd getting excited as well now.
The crowd is getting excited. We got a little bit of rainfall here, but doesn't seem to be bothering anybody as we look out the studio. We have a pretty sizable crowd out there.
And if I was not mistaken, was Bart Janssen having another close look?
So Adrien Courteau with a fantastic run there and a 32.08. Not a personal best for him, but that's got him. Not a personal best. What? It's got him atop the leaderboard in underhand chop at the moment. So right now,
not too bad at all.
Not too bad, and he is the man that everybody's going to be chasing. But we should point out there are 2 more heats coming up with Julien Mayer, Pierre Puybaret, Alexander Maurice, and Guillaume Moore. And yeah, they'll be hard ones to keep away from at those times because they're very, very good cutters when we talk about the underhand chop, all 4 of those guys.
Beautiful pictures, by the way, that we're getting to see. Those slow-mos really helping us to analyze especially me, all the jobs that we're getting to see. But that's a great competition. That's the way to start it, to see so many personal bests, to see all the athletes that want to go onto the podium, compete. And as you said, 2 heats coming up. That's 3 of the favorites you mentioned.
They're in there.
So everything and anything is still possible. And we only have the first discipline. We're going to have 3 rounds, starting with 12 athletes. Then we'll be down to 8, and for the final discipline down to 6.
Yeah.
But we'll give
it's
you
all
all
still
those
to play
details.
for.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, we did see all those personal bests so far. We may well see another set of personal bests. And for me, that means a couple of things. The guys have been training hard, and the wood is running well.
And there is a reason for that. We've got the World Championships coming up in Toulouse, which is just around the corner. And just to get a bit of a feel for that, please take a closer look at what's coming up now.
I am so looking forward to that, Floaty. I mean, there is nothing quite like the World Championships when it comes to STIHL Timbersports. You bring all of the best together, all of their fans, which really amps everything up.
And we're ready for the next heat. So let's get ready for Julien Meyer and Pierre Puybaret, the man who's won this 8 times.
Look at that grin from Pierre Puybaret, yeah? That is a mischievous grin right there. So you got to be careful of him backstage.
Okay.
I'm always careful of this guy.
Ready.
Here we go. So Pierre Puybaret's best time is 16.79. He's definitely got advantage as far as tail of the tape is concerned against Julien Meyer, and he's really bringing that axe up on high. Now you can see here, that's a steppy cut right there. So what you're doing here in this situation is you're cutting new material every single time, and that makes everything slower because you've got to recut and recut and recut.
But Pierre is getting angry, as it seems.
Yeah, and he was not happy with that first side. Not a really good time by Pierre either.
But who cares?
But who cares? He's got the fastest time of the day so far. He only needed to beat the next fastest guy, right? It's like when you're getting chased in the woods by a bear. You don't have to be faster than the bear. You have to be faster than the guy you're with.
That's why I feel safe when I'm around you, man.
Oh, fantastic. That's really nice of you to say. So 26.28. That's just been adjusted on our timing screen to a 26.08 for Pierre Puybaret.
Okay. Both cuts are good.
So no DQs so far. Well
No
done, everybody.
DQs, and that's good. We don't really see a lot of DQs on the underhand chop, though. Occasionally with that cut line or, you know, with a small faux pas, swinging the axe when your foot is on the ground, but that's seldom with the pros. They really know absolutely what they're doing. So let's take a look at this here. Oh, Pierre got a really sticky axe on that first driver, and you can see here Julien Meyer was going into it really. He didn't bring the axe up. He didn't reset himself up on high. He was chopping from about head height, and you notice that Pierre Puybaret was bringing the axe way up above his head and just driving into that. And, you know, with the accuracy and the power and the speed that he cuts with, that just was the advantage for him, absolutely. You could see those steps in the block there.
I think he got angry because he didn't like the way he started into that competition.
No, not at all. All right, so this should be an interesting heat.
Yeah.
Two of the guys that I think could potentially take the top of the podium. Both of them have pretty solid times that are even with each other. Best times aren't as fast as Pierre Puybaret, but that is just the first discipline of 3 in the first round. So anything can still happen here. And I really believe that one of these two guys just needs a slight breakout, and we're going to see a different podium this year.
Just look at their physique. I mean, of course, World Championships coming up in your home country. These guys really want to go there. If you want to beat Pierre Puybaret, you want to do it in 2024.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the time to do it. But I will provide that with a caveat that Pierre Puybaret is not an easy man to beat.
Yes.
So left of your screen, Alexander Maurice, Guillaume Moore on the right-hand side of your screen, and both of these guys pacing each other into it as they get into those blocks as quick as possible. Boy, they are in sync with each other, but is Guillaume Moore onto that second side, and again they're in sync with each other, and now just one sticky axe, and that got things a little bit off pace. Alexander Maurice with some nice big chips flying out there. He should be quick through that block. Is he going to get there in under 26? I don't think so. But it's going to be pretty close as both these guys are there. Oh, look at that. Guillaume Moore with a 27.80 and Alexander Maurice with a 28.26. So how close was that? And that puts them both in second and third places, respectively here. Guillaume Moore in number 2 and Alexander Maurice in number 3. So they are in striking distance.
Wow.
Okay, gentlemen, both cuts are good.
So there was no love lost for those logs by these two gentlemen here, and you could see the motivation. Absolutely, absolutely motivated to get this done.
Don't want to be a piece of log when these guys are around.
Not at all.
Wow.
And I mean, both of them just going for it, yeah? And you can see here, Alexander Maurice on his toes, comes around about, yeah, that's 1/2 driver ahead of Guillaume Moore, but Guillaume was onto that second side and digging deep really fast. So he actually did do a great job of catching up to Alexander and was faster in the heat. We should point out, and I think I might have mentioned this earlier, that this is not an elimination situation. It's about getting the fastest time possible. So let's take a look now at the underhand chop results. And of course, Pierre Puybaret with a 26.08, Guillaume Moore and Alexander Maurice in 2 and 3 with 27.48 and 28.16 respectively. So it's all really close in the times here that we're looking at on screen. And there you see a whole bunch of personal bests dropping here in this first discipline. So good job by all of these guys. The times not massively different between them, especially among the top 5. You know, there's 3, 4, 5 seconds difference, and yeah, it's
your top 3 in the top 3.
My top 3 in the top 3. It's going to be a battle for these 3 guys. So barring any mistakes, any disqualifications, which has happened for all 3 of them in the past, we should see a really good competition between these 3 guys.
And it's all about collecting points. The next discipline, that's the STIHL. And what that's all about, well, we show you right now.
The STIHL MS661CM stock saw is used in STIHL Timbersports as the ultimate test of operator skill. Designed for the toughest jobs in forestry, it produces approximately 7.3 horsepower, has a displacement of 91.1 cc, and weighs 7.4 kilograms. To ensure evenly and fairly matched saws, professional STIHL technicians prepare and test the saws before each competition. Stock saw. After the starting shot, the contestants have to cut 2 wooden discs, so-called cookies, within a 10-centimeter mark. 1 downward and 1 upward. The attempt is only valid when both discs have been cut off completely and within the marks.
Yes.
There it is. This is the STIHL MS661 stock saw. This is the saw that the gentleman will be using on stage. There is nothing modified about this saw. There's no changes to the chain or the bar here up front. There's no additions or modifications to the motor. So this is exactly the saw that you can go into your local STIHL dealership and buy and start working in your backyard, cutting down trees or whatever you happen to use a saw like this for.
This actually is mine.
What?
No, it's not. Yeah, but we'll go to the start lists.
Let's get on.
So, heat 1. And off we go. Trincas against Guiguet. Followed by heat number 2, Pierre-Louis Poisson against Dominique Fuchs. Then we have Guillaume Moore against Cyril Marchal and Alexandre Maurice and Anthony Prieur. Julien Meyer against Adrien Courteau. And finally, Pierre Puybaret against Loic Wanson.
All right, so heat 1, Christophe Trincas against Gilles Guiguet. This is a discipline where Gilles Giguet can use that experience to his advantage. He will know these saws inside and out. He will also have a very good feel for the saws and know when they're bogging down, how they're running smooth. So, yeah, this is going to be, as we say, in the motor saw discipline, we're going to motor through this one because it should be quick. Here we go.
Athletes ready.
And there you go, Giguet with a fantastic pick and pull. He's got a nice thin cookie to start things off. Trincaza has got a nice cut though. Great transition by both of these guys. And it's going to be Trincaza with the faster cut, 11.78 PB. And Giguet with a 12.56. Both great times. So the personal best right there by Christophe Trincaza has obliterated his previous personal best, as both our judges check to make sure there are no cut lines and complete cookies are on the deck.
Okay, gentlemen, both cuts are good.
Well done, that's brilliant.
Fantastic start. I like it. Gilles Giguet was very fast on his pickup, and I hope that we can get to see that in the slow-mo. Because that was a lightning fast beginning to the cut. He was a little bit slower on the upcut, and I think maybe he saw out of the corners of his eye Trincaza was really good. So here you could see that first cut from Trincaza was very, very nice. He had a bit of a fatter cookie. Giguet had a nice thin cookie, but Trincaza seemed to have a real good feel for that saw. Very good transition right there. And look at the positioning of Trincaza and Giguet both.
Oh, makes it look so easy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the saws are doing the work, but don't mistake, this is not about power and anything like that. It's about speed, precision, and knowing the material.
So Pierre-Louis with his 1.9 meters height at 110 k's. Yeah, he's going to be working that saw, but like you said, it's not all about the power. It's a lot about technique.
I mean, theoretically speaking, you could place the saw on top of the wood and hold it with one hand to just guide it down. It'll do the work for you, but this is about trying to get that saw to work as efficiently as possible. So if you get up there quickly and then start pushing down really hard on the saw and forcing it into the block, the chain is going to slow down, and sometimes when the chain slows down too much, it will bog the engine out or stall the engine. Then you got a big problem with time. So it's about trying to find the most efficient way and pressure that you can use to get that saw really working for you in your advantage. So these guys have to know the machine by listening to it and feeling it in their hands. They'll know when it starts to bog down and when it's not running clean.
Athletes ready.
Fuchs with a very upright start position. Boy, he got a fat cookie to start, though. Or is that
Poisson?
He's right
That's
on the
Poisson.
line.
He's right on the line.
Yeah, he's got his own line drawn there, but he was right on it. Poisson with a good cut, though. Oh, boy, look how close that was. 11.69, 11.86. Really close cuts by both of these guys. And that puts them both atop the stock saw cut for the moment. Christophe Trincaza with an 11.66 personal best. That'll definitely be adjusted for better. Let's see what it says after the competition control center's got their mitts on it.
So close together. That's crazy.
11.69, 11.70. Wow. How close is that? Not much closer can Heat get.
And Trincaza with 11.66. So we've got 11.66, 11.69, and 11.70. That is just crazy. That's a big cookie, Troy.
That is a fat cookie. I mean, the smaller the cookie, the better.
That's what you say. Thin to win. I heard that.
Thin to win, yeah. And you can see a quick look by Trincaza there, or excuse me, by Poisson. I believe it was. No, it was Fuchs that was looking over at Poisson, having a quick peek there to see where he's at. All right, here's a couple of guys that are well matched up as well. Guillaume Mort and Cyril Marchal.
And Moore looked really good in the first discipline, so definitely a force to be reckoned with.
So as you see, the personal best there, 11.48 and a 10.53 for Guillaume. Cyril Marchal, a legend in French timber sports. Guillaume Moore getting there.
Okay? Warm up your souls.
It's so interesting to see those different techniques. Everybody's got their own thing going on.
Athletes, ready.
Their own stance, everything. Oh, that's a great start from him.
Very good start by Guillaume Moore. He was up there quick. Nice transition. Ooh, he almost tagged that break. He had to be real careful on the upcut, but Marshall with a personal best. 11.34 and Guillaume Moore with a 12.72. Fantastic upcut from Marshall. His transition was flawless. He barely swung at all. Guillaume Moore was right there with him as well, but that was a fantastic transition. And Guillaume Moore's under review. We have to check and see what's going on here. Could be any number of things. Finger placement, early start. It could be
but the
cut
start
line.
looked all right to me. I didn't see anything
I thought
there.
so too, but he was quick on the start. So we'll have to see. And that would be a devastating blow to Guillaume Moore's chances here, because a DQ would mean that he will not get the points from this discipline. So right now there's discussion going on between Bart Janssen and Radu Kasaku with the Competition Control Center to find out what actually went on, and hopefully we will also see and or hear what the result is, as Guillaume is now waiting with bated breath. And it looks like it's the finger placement or perhaps a quicker start.
Oh, it looks like there's the explanation.
I know what it is. I'm pretty sure what happened is he had his hand on the log and he gave the saw gas one last time. That is this year not allowed. It's a new rule that they've added in. Let's see if that's what they actually say.
Tension rising.
Unfortunately, we have a DQ on this stand because both hands has to be on the saw. This is a matter of safety. And a good cut on this stand.
Okay, so that's confirmed. Both hands need to be on the saw when they're revving it, and that's what Guillaume did. He had a hand on top of the block while he gave it gas. They checked back in the Competition Control Center. Bart Janssen threw the flag down on that one. He saw it, obviously, but he has to wait till the end of the cut in order to throw the flag down for safety purposes. I mean, he's got an eye for it, and then they just needed to go into the Competition Control Center and double check everything, and that's what exactly they did.
But
so
that hurts. That's
that is going to hurt Guillaume Moore as a DQ. He will not get any points from that at all. So that is an unfortunate situation for Guillaume, but it's not over. He can come back in the standing block chop, and if he's good enough, which he should be, to make the top 8 to go to the next round, he still has an opportunity to gain points and be in contention, but that's going to hurt for the moment.
And it's such a shame because it doesn't really... It really is a shame because that doesn't really give him a big advantage. It's just a matter of safety, so that's something you need to think about because... that's one of the, I would call, stupid mistakes. You know, it's like...
and I mean, look at the accuracy of Marshall. It's just a fantastic cut. His transition was great. And I mean, Guillaume had a good cut as well. He was quick on the block. I thought he might have even jumped the gun, but he was still okay. And we're back up on stage for our next heat. And there you see Cyril Marshall's final cut, and that
he's going to be very pleased.
He's going to be pleased with that one, absolutely. You know, he's got it down.
Not only personal best, but also taking the lead in the stock for the moment.
So if anybody can really do some damage here, it's Alexander Maurice. He's got a personal best under 10 seconds. So here we go. Ooh, he was a little bit slow getting up on it there.
But talk about thin to win.
Nice transition by Prieur. Oh, Maurice looking good on the upcut, though. Boy, that's close. 12:31, 12:44. Prieur with a personal best. Fantastic. And Maurice, not his personal best, but he was quick. Again, this is about trying to get the best time for the points to be atop that list.
Okay. Both cuts are good.
So 12:24 to 12:25, another couple of 1/10 of a second differences here. Fantastic heats, and everybody's real close so far. I mean, you know, we're looking at 1.15 seconds between the top time and the 7th time. That's nothing.
That's crazy. And Maurice is on top of the block at the moment in the overall standings. But of course, we've still got 2 more heats to come.
Correct.
So this will all be changed around and shuffled through again. But just like you mentioned, you know, they're so close together, and it's just about collecting those points to make sure to be in a good position when he gets to round number 2, or hopefully in round number 3.
A little bit of a dark spot in the block there. You could see that as well. That would slow down the saw slightly, but not by much. You can see there.
I love those pictures.
Yeah, it's a great cut there from Anthony Prieur with a personal best. Look at his elbow up high and pushing that saw forward and out. That's a different style.
So we've got the next heat coming up with Julien Meyer and Adrien Courteau. But what about the weather, Troy? It's started to consistently rain now. Does that going to have an effect on the wood? Is this going to have an effect on the saws?
Over the long term on the wood, yes, but not much in this case. On the saws, it's more about the temperature and the altitude. So, but that's not really an issue either, because the steel technicians are here and they adjust for those situations as well. So I think in this discipline, the weather doesn't really play a role, other than the athlete's muscles getting cold. Nice start by both of these guys, both Courteau and Meyer, with... Whoa, that transition was fantastic. He's got to stay inside that block, though. Oh, Courteau's got a quick one. 11.63, Meyer with a 12.87. That was a great cut and great, even better transition by Courteau, and he kept both of those blocks super thin. So he has been performing very well from underhand in through the stock saw. He's looking very, very good. He's sitting
looks
in second.
confident the way he walks. Did you see that? Yeah, you know.
He's sitting second place at the moment in the stock saw results. And that basically just put him up into the top spot in the overall. But we have one more heat to go.
One more heat to come, yeah.
So he has managed to get himself into a very, very stable and good position here so far.
And that, of course, means then going into the next discipline, the worst position he can be in is 3rd.
So here you can see the start. That was a great pick. On the background there, you can see that's a very nice thin cookie by Courteau. And watch him transition here. This is going to be it right here. So you can see it's a nice thin cookie. And here's the transition. Oh, a little bit of swing. A little bit more swing than I thought. But he managed to keep that saw up against his thigh and kept that pressure up without overdoing it, and had a really nice cut. And Meyer as well with a very good cut. You can see him, he's got his arm jammed up against his thighs, so that's keeping the pressure going up, and he actually uses his body, his hips, pushing the saw forward and up. So that's another one of those styles.
It's a shame we can't see you on camera, because Troy was demonstrating this beautifully with his whole body. Hopefully we're going to see that now from Pierre Puybaret and Loïc Wanson. That's a very competitive last heat here in the stock saw.
Loïc is a solid stock sawyer, very, very good in fact. And he is matched up very well with Pierre Puybaret here.
One thing I always notice is those saws seem to look much smaller in the hands of Pierre Puybaret than we only have it on the table.
Yeah, I mean, everything looks smaller in the hands of Pierre Puybaret. He's a big boy.
No details. Wow. Look at that. Look at that.
You can see Voisin, he's a little bit more upright and over top of the log on that first cut. Then Pierre Puybaret stays back of the block and steps into it.
Oh.
And another great cut by both of them. I'm not sure that that's a personal best from Loïc. I have a personal best here of 10.48 on my screen, so I think that might be a small mistake there.
Unless they really change the time.
Okay. Both cuts are good.
11.06 pour Loïc Vincent qui remporte l'épreuve.
All right, so Loïc Voisin has moved into second place in stock saw. No, excuse me, with the adjustment, he's moved into first place. I'm still not sure that that's a personal best, because I see in our screen here Loïc Voisin's personal best prior was 10.48. So I don't know how an 11.06 would be considered a PB, but hey, not a math guy.
I'd love to help you on that, but just like you say, I'm not a math guy either. So. But again, those slow-mos, that's brilliant to see. And yeah, talk about the science of the saw in the hands of Pierre Puybaret. I love it.
And Loic Voisson looking completely relaxed as he goes through that cut. So looking at the stock saw results.
And the points. Voisson claiming 12. He's going to be very happy about that. Marshall with 11. Courteau taking 10. And Puybaret, 9 points. He's not going to be too pleased with that. And
yeah, but it doesn't hurt him too badly.
Pierre angry, you know, that's what you don't want to...
He's never been the strongest stock sawyer. He's an axeman. So if we take a look at how that affects the overall standings, though, Pierre Puybaret has the top spot, even with those 9 points. But just by 1 point, Loic Voisson right there. Adrien Courteau, wow.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, who saw this coming? And Marshall and Maurice in the rounding out the top 5 there.
So that's close competition we're getting to see with 1 or 2 small surprises, a lot of personal bests. So what more can you wish for?
Yeah, I mean, it's been fantastic thus far. We've got one more discipline to come in the round 1, and that's the standing block chop. Now, this is going to be a critical discipline for these guys because now they have to really lock in the points in order to be among the top 8 guys. And the bottom...
When we have to say goodbye to 4 of these athletes, that's always a tough one. And you want to be within those top 8. So do you think the top 8 that we have now are going to be the ones proceeding, or do you feel that in the standing block chop there is going to be some changes?
And that's a tough call.
Because I don't think it's going to be those 8 names that we're getting to see now. I'm just saying.
It's like I say, it's a tough call. You know, we did have a DQ there with Guillaume Moore. Guillaume Moore is a very good standing block athlete, so he could well get the points, and he needs to make it among the top 8. So let's just see. We're going to just have to wait until the standing is done and dusted to see where we're at. It's a tough call. I mean, it's anybody's guess, but I would say our top 8 is going to stay more or less the same.
We'll find out very soon. We have a small commercial coming up, and then everything you need to know about the standing block chop.
Tous les outils pour entretenir facilement votre jardin. Avec la gamme à batterie par STIHL. Disponible chez les revendeurs STIHL agréés et sur STIHL.fr.
We promised you to tell you everything about the standing block chop. Troy, are you going to do that?
I'm going to try my best. Here we go. Let's take a look at the clip for standing block chop.
Standing block chop. At the standing block chop, the felling of a tree with an axe is simulated. A vertically positioned wooden block with a diameter of 30 centimeters has to be cut through both sides. A powerful and precise swing with the axe is the premise of a good result.
All right, standing block chop coming up. Loic Voisson is going to be in there against Christophe Trincaz, Gilles Giguet against Dominic Fuchs, and you can see the remaining 6 heats there. Again, as I mentioned before, this is for all the marbles in this round 1. You want to try and get as many points as possible here to make it among the top 8 athletes. So the guys that will be vying for those positions down in the bottom here will be guys like Dominic Fuchs, Anthony Priere, Julien Meyer. They're outside of the top 8 at the moment. Guillaume Moore is on the bubble in 8th position, though, with that DQ in the stock saw. That's really cost him because he was super solid in 2nd place in the underhand chop. So he needs to have a very good cut here.
And it might just be those 2 or 3 points more that you collect in this competition to make it to the 2nd round. So let's wish the best of luck for all athletes, starting with Loic Voisson and Christophe Trincaz. That's going to be our first heat in the standing block chop, one of my favorite disciplines, by the way.
It's one of the most difficult to become very good at as well, and 12 points are up for grabs, so you've got to be on point with this discipline. If you get flat on your cuts, if you get a little bit too tired, if your arms are burning a bit and you start to go straight into the block, you're just not doing any work. You're basically just bouncing the axe out of the slot there.
talk about bouncing the axe, kiss my axe, that's a hashtag. So if you take some nice pictures, yeah, just put them on that hashtag, and maybe, you know, we'll be able to show you pictures online, or maybe even as part of our show.
You never know.
Find out. Yep.
There's the other hashtag, STIHL Timbersports. And of course, if you want to join the conversation, use either one of those two hashtags and get involved and find out more about STIHL Timbersports. And there's a great look at the axe of Christophe Trincaz, and I think that is a chisel that he's using today. I can't tell from this angle if it's a banana or not, but that just basically alludes to the way that it's shaved.
If you want to buy one of those axes, what do you think you have to pay, Troy?
I mean, 800 euros is right now a little bit low. I think you're looking at more along the lines of 1,000 to 1,200 for a really well-balanced axe, and you can't just have one. You got to have 6 or 7.
So it's like the tennis professionals with their rackets.
Yeah, it's a big investment. Interesting start position with Loïc Vincent and his left hand. It was not all the way down on the bottom of the knob of the axe. It was a little bit up, and yeah,
but I believe I've seen him do this every now and then.
Yeah, he starts off that way, but he's quick. It works for him. He's off to the other side here. Trincaz still working on the first side, and as I said, Loïc Vincent is very good with the axe in hand here, and he's doing a good job on that second side. Trincaz has now moved over to his second side, but he's about 8 or 9 drivers behind Loïc Vincent, and he's 1 or 2 more to do it. No, and there you go. Personal best by Loïc Vincent with a 33.02.
That's impressive.
And now you can see Trincaz is getting a bit tired. His angles are still okay, but you got to watch out for those straight cuts. And that's really the difficulty here on this discipline, is to have those angles.
And he's a strong boy, you know.
He is a strong boy. There you go. Nicely done. 57.89. Got it in under a minute, so
see the
that's well
expression
done.
on his face. What's going on? Come on.
He's not pleased by that at all. He knows he can do better. He's had a personal best of 37. I almost lisped that one. 37.22. So.
Yeah, but he was like, what was going on? You know, it's
he might have had a dark spot in there as well.
Okay,
so anybody's
both cuts are good.
So well done by Loïc Vincent with a 32.84. At the moment, he is the man with the time to beat.
So being backstage, would you start counting the points, doing your maths, or do you think those athletes are just going to walk out and give it all they have? Because I'd be like, oh my God, I need at least 7 points to make it to the next round. And if he's in the lead now, it's...
These guys aren't thinking about that back there. Of course, it's going to be in the back of their mind, but that's just a nugget that's sitting back there, waiting for the hot sauce. Their focus is getting on stage and doing the best job that they can in the discipline that they're in. Because if you start to think about where you're at compared to the other guys, that's going to draw your attention away from what you need to do on stage. And, in this particular case, with these tools in hand, you don't want to be having your attention somewhere else, because that's a safety issue.
You got a point on that, yeah.
You can see there, Trincaz just absolutely going for it, but you could also see that he was starting to get a bit tired. He got a couple of sticky axes there. There's a little bounce right there, so that obviously causes problems. And Loïc Vincent was already done with his block at 32.84. So Trincaz, I mean, their usual times are really close together, but this time Trincaz was just not having the good block.
Oh, wow, we're going fast. There's heat number 2. Gilles Giguet against Dominique Fuchs.
Yep. Nice big chip flying out of Giguet's block, and that block's looking really nice. Now you can see here on this top cut there, it's a bit smoother than a bottom cut, a bit steppy on the bottom cut. And here, there's a straight cut in by Dominique Fuchs as he gets over to the other side, and that block's looking a little bit wiggly already. Giguet onto the second side, and the crowd's really getting into it here for these two guys. So obviously there's a couple of fans in the audience, and Dominique Fuchs is just looking to try and get through that block with straight cuts now.
Look at Gilles.
But he has not done a good job of cutting clean.
Whoa!
And now Giguet has come from behind with a 37.27, and I'll tell you why. Look at these cuts right here from Dominique. He's going straight in. straight in. He's not cutting at the angle. He's not moving any material out of the way. He's trying to cut through that like scissors through paper, and it doesn't work that way. He had to cut that face open a little bit more, and he took too much time with those straight cuts in this case. So Dominic with a 58.89, and he was over to the other side faster, and he's getting a little bit of instruction now from Radu Kasagu, who used to run camps as well back in his home country. So he knows exactly what needs to be done, and he's helping out as well.
It must be so tough.
Both cuts are good.
So right now, Dominic Fuchs is absolutely wasted tired. And you know, if we look back in the slow-mos,
I was watching him
closer to the end. At the start, he looked really good. He had a nice open face. He was cutting a little bit steppy, but it wasn't the end of the world. So it could still work for him. But when he got onto that second side, and we'll see here. So look at this big chip right there, right away from Giquier. I mean, it was absolutely fantastic. He started off with a couple of nice clean cuts, got a little bit steppy there, and he was onto that second side well behind Dominic Fuchs. Now let's watch Dominic here. Dominique, I should say, sorry. He's got some nice chips coming out.
I was just going to say, that didn't look too bad,
Yeah, his upcut angles were a little bit flat, but when he started to try and feel like he could get through that block, he flattened his axe and he just went in straight, every time straight. And here you could see the angle was still there by Giquier, and that worked to his advantage. He got through there because he was cutting material out of the way. And when you've got a piece of material that's sticking in there and you're cutting through like this, you're actually moving the material out of the way. When you're cutting in flat like this, you're just hitting it, and it bounces out. You're not actually cutting material away. You're just making a hole.
And finally, people at home can see what's happening while the competition's running. I always have to move out of the way because this man
You never know when an elbow's going to fly.
But Gilles, I mean, this guy is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, he's been off competition for quite some time. He appears every now and then as a 5-time champion. He's not 30 anymore, you know, and he's still going strong. I mean, full respect to this man.
Absolutely
amazing.
Chapeau, because, I mean, he is performing amazingly today, and, you know, we might see him jumping into the next round. I mean, if I look at our standings here right now, he's in 5th position, and there's still a couple more heats to come, but, you know, he's in a good spot.
And he's a very sustainable person, so we need to talk about sustainable wood. I'm not sure if we can show the people at home, but that's something that STIHL TIMBERSPORTS is very worried about and taking very, very good care of, because very often we hear, what's happening to the wood, you know. So, but we take care of it, and it's very sustainable, everything that's happening here, and we're very proud of that.
Appropriate they were near a paper mill as well.
Very true. So I'm not sure if we can show. Maybe we'll do that later. For now, we're ready we're going to be ready to show everybody what's going on in the next heat, and that of course is Julien Meyer against Pierre-Louis Poisson. I just love those French names.
It's fantastic, fantastique.
Oh,
but the stage crew was really quick, so that's why we didn't get to the clip for you guys. But we'll come back to that clip later on because it is a very interesting clip as we get ready for the next heat.
Ready.
By the way, big shout out to the stage crew that you mentioned. They're doing a great job so far.
They are. Very tentative drivers here for both of these guys. I'm a little bit surprised here. And Julien Meyer and Pierre-Louis Poisson on stage together again. There you can see Poisson. He's got his drivers coming from well back, although he did step in a little bit closer than I expected a tall man would. And he's also choked up on that axe a little bit.
Now.
Yeah, and this is something that's very interesting with the new athletes. They tend to get faster on the second sides when some other guys are getting tired and slowing down on the second side. Julien Meyer, he's looking good. He's got some nice big chips coming out. Who's going to get through there first? It's going to be Poisson in a 46.4. Julien Meyer with a 46.9. Again, very close heat between these two guys.
That is actually crazy. Great setup of the heats, though, having them so close together.
Perfect view of our block. That's what I'm talking about, a bit of a steppy block. You know, guys that are going in with speed and power, they don't have the accuracy very often. So both cuts good, handshakes all around, and the guys will exit the stage left in their case.
But both of the boys pumping.
Yeah, they're both breathing heavy. And I mean, this is about the accuracy as well. If you have good, accurate cuts, you're cutting old material, or you're not cutting new material. So each time you go down that line, you get a nice clean face, and then you make a new cut on an old spot. So you're getting through there more efficiently, and that is going to help you maintain a little bit of that wind at the end, because you're not cutting new wood. You're not working hard for the new stuff.
Great to see on this scene here.
Not to say that this is not a hard thing to do. I mean, you're talking about like an 8-kilogram axe, and I mean, I had this one in my hand, and I'm not a weak guy, and it was heavy. It felt heavy in my hands. I can't even imagine how that is affecting their ability to keep going in these heats for 30, 40, 50 seconds in some cases.
But it is all about those seconds. It's all about collecting those points in our third discipline. That's the last discipline of the first round. And of course, Anthony Prieur and Alexandre Maurice, they want to collect some points because they want to make it to the next round.
They absolutely do. And Prieur really needs some help here. He's got 7 points in total, so he needs to be absolutely on fire. Alexandre Maurice at the moment is sitting in 9th place, but he's got himself a 3rd place in underhand chop, and he was a little bit lower down in the stock saw with, let me double check this here, stock saw for Alexandre was, 8th place, so he's got to do a good job in standing here.
Good start indeed.
And Maurice is a diminutive guy. He's small, but he's very strong, and you can see those arms. I mean, there's not a lot of fat there, and he really knows how to work that axe. Now you can see he's got a fairly closed face on that first cut for him. Same for Prieur. So he's going to open up that second face a little bit higher on the block and try and get through there as quickly as possible as he approach the 30-second mark here. And Alexandre Maurice with a great final driver. 30.47, and you can see the difference maker that is when you have your shots coming from an angle and you're not cutting new wood every single time. Prieur, he's starting to get a bit tired. His cuts are starting to get a little bit flat. It's wiggling and waggling, and oh my God, there it goes, and it's stuck there. It's got to drop. That little thread of wood held on and held on and held on, and he had to go over to the other side to cut it down, and that cost him about 2 or 3 seconds.
And his face says it all.
Yeah, and that's the first grimace we've seen from him all weekend long.
Yeah, but who, I mean, no, I'm going crazy just watching this. This is so mean, so mean.
Gentlemen, both cuts are good.
So a lot of times you could say, well, that's by virtue of not clean cuts on the first side and a thread just hung on there. It's, you know, it's anybody's game in this case, right? So it's anything could happen. So there's our stage crew, and again, we have to give them props. They do such a great job of preparing the stage and making sure that all the junk is off as well. And there you can see Alexandre Maurice with the fastest time so far in standing block. He's done a great job here, so he's in a good position with just 2 heats to come. You can see there, that's a pretty nice line right there. Not a lot of steps. The steps that he had were super, super thin, so he was pretty accurate with each of those cuts, and that's a difference maker, and for him it really worked, and he's at the top of the ranking right now in the standing block chop. So if he can hold on to one of those top 3 positions, then he is going to be in a good spot as we move on to that next round.
A lot of wood on stage. We talked about sustainability before, and why we did so, well, that's going to be explained right now.
We as STIHL Timbersports pride ourselves that all wood is sustainably grown, harvested and recycled to minimise the overall amount of wood processed. Firstly, this popular wood is grown on certified plantations. Secondly, the white pine for our sawing disciplines is only sourced from certified forest management. After all our STIHL competitions, all the spent wood is collected and recycled right down to the wood chips and sawdust, which, for example, is converted into renewable energy in the form of wood pellets for biomass. We quest to find certified partners. This ensures that all newly planted trees are nurtured and managed, promoting maximum efficiency and sustainability for the future conservation of our valuable forests.
Therefore, as you can see, with good harvesting practices and good management with silviculture, the ground is quickly replaced by new trees, or could even be used for arable for farmers and future rotations.
quick tag in the studio there.
Yeah, that was heat number A1, and that's next one, heat number 5 coming up. Cyril Marchal against Adrien Courteau, and that could be a close race as well if you look at the personal bests.
Adrien Courteau has been a pleasant surprise for me today. I did not expect that he would be where he is at the moment. He's currently sitting in, where is he now? In 5th place before this discipline. So if he can have a good cut here, he's going to be in good standing. Cyril Marchal getting in there, some nice big chips flying off of that as he gets working on that block. Adrien Courteau on his first side. Looks like he's got a bit of a closed face on that first side. Marchal on the second side really going for it. He absolutely wants that block. But look at the salad on the first side of Adrien Courteau's block. That's a lot of material still left behind, but it's looking good. Oh, my goodness. Wow. Oh, my goodness. What a cut by Courteau. A 29-10 puts him in first place in the standing block chop results. And Cyril Marchal not far behind with a 31-9-8. This guy continues to impress. Fantastic.
Puts him on top of the overall standings at the moment as well.
Congratulations.
Radu says both cuts are good. There we go.
There you go. 28.88. Wow. That great is finish, a great finish. Not his personal best or Cyril Marchal's personal best, but boy, what a battle between those two with one more heat to go between Guillaume Moore and Pierre Puybaret. Now, Guillaume has to have a killer cut here. We'll get onto that after we take a look at our slow-mo replay of this battle, though, between Cyril and Adrien. That was just fantastic. A great start by both of these guys. There's some nice chips flying for both of them.
Look at that.
Yeah, a bit of a flat cut on those two last drivers for Cyril. Adrien, though, look very, very good on those top cuts. It's nice and smooth. Cyril Marchal, last driver there for him, a 31.98. And look at that. You can see the accuracy is right on point there. Really nice top cuts, and that's the difference maker for Adrien Courteau. And look at that. He's pleased by that. Well, how could you not be? 12 points with these two guys behind you.
Woo.
Okay, it's going to be interesting. By the way, Pierre Puybaret holding the national record for France with an 18.59. Guillaume Moore, he's a quick one as well, 22.30. But we've seen that the wood is not chopping and standing as quickly as we had hoped. So everybody is pretty consistent, and that tells me that the wood is consistent as well.
Oh, that's the moment that you think about everything and anything, and you're meant to focus on just the standing block chop. That's what I mentioned before. I'd be thinking about, I don't know, the points that I still have to collect. Yeah. I mean, this is the last heat. We're going into the second round, especially with Guillaume Moore having had that DQ. You know, it's crazy.
It was a dumb DQ. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's not correct because it's a safety issue, but it's a dumb DQ. I just hope that DQ doesn't mess with his confidence because it has nothing to do with his skill level at all.
No,
it was just a minor mistake, that's all.
Okay. Athletes, ready.
Moore on the left side, Pierre Puybaret on the right side, and both of them getting right into it. Nice chips, a bit of a sticky one there for Moore. Puybaret on the other side, he's a big man, and he can step back from that log and really work it. He's so accurate as well. Moore about 2 drivers behind Puybaret as he steps over to the other side of the block. And Puybaret is looking very good here. He might be through fairly quickly. Is he going to have the fastest time at 26.04? Yes, he will do it. Guillaume Moore has an opportunity here, though, but he's got himself a lot of material on that first side. One more, maybe. There it is, 33.96.
And you said it, Puybaret is an Axeman, and indeed he is.
And Guillaume Moore is in 6th place in the standing blocks. Where is that going to put him in the overall standings here? We'll give you that information afterwards.
Yes, on 7th, if you ask me.
My math is right. I didn't want to give it away before we went to the screen, but hey, you wrecked it for me. Huh?
Gentlemen, both cuts are good.
All right, so that's a big deal for Guillaume Moore. He needed that. He absolutely needed that because that's going to be a difference maker for him, putting him in 7th place in the overall standings. We'll take a look at how that affects our overall standings in general after we have a look at the slow-mos and the results from standing block chop.
Yeah, things starting to get really exciting now.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, this one guy, Adrien Courteau, who had the fastest time prior to this final heat, was like
he's up there. He's still up there.
A pleasant surprise for the day. And you can see here those drivers from Guillaume Moore. Accuracy, like fantastic. But, you know, you got a big man like Pierre Puybaret with accuracy and power. You got trouble on your hands. And Guillaume, it seems to me like he left a little bit too much material on that first side, but you can see nice smooth sides, but those are just fantastic. That's almost like he sanded those sides before he went to the other side of the block. All right, so let's take a look at the standing block chop results here. Puybaret with the top time of 25.84. Courteau, who has been a fantastic surprise for me today, in 2nd place. Alexandre Maurice in 3rd. Cyril Marchal, Loïc Voisin rounding out the top 5. And let's take a look how that affects our overall standings, because we will also lose.
And that's what it's all about.
4 guys here. So let's take a look here. So standing block chop, Puybaret, Courteau, Maurice, Marchal, Voisin, Chigo. Yeah, it's fantastic. Now watch how it shifts in the overall. Puybaret stays on top. Adrien Courteau moves from 3rd to 2nd. Loïc Voisin in 3rd. Alexandre Maurice and Cyril Marchal rounding out the top 5. Moore is in it in 7th. So he does have work to do. And now there's more points to be earned in that 2nd round, and that's where Moore can really start to pick up the pace in the springboard and the single buck. So speaking of single buck, let's take a look at that monster like we've got right here in the corner, and we'll bring that out for you later on here. It's a beast. They call it the Misery Whip, and there's a good reason why they call it the Misery Whip. The single buck coming up next.
The 2-meter-long cross-cut saw used for the single buck discipline is made especially for competition. A series of consistently patterned 10-centimeter-long teeth are cut with a laser on one side of the saw and then hand-sharpened. Saw teeth are divided into 2 types, cutters and rakers, just like on the old-school saws. The saw weighs about 5 kilos and its base price starts at around €1,500. Single buck. The single buck is a one-man saw about 2 meters long. With this, the athletes have to cut off a complete disc of a 46-centimeter thick wooden block. The perfect interplay between rhythm and strength is the key to success.
So in front of us here is the Misery Whip. This is a single saw or the single buck. Here we have the cutting teeth, and here we have the raking teeth. They're laser cut, as you heard in the video, and it's a saw that's super efficient with cutting, but if we lift the saw up and give it a little shake, you can see that's why they call it the Misery Whip. When you're pushing the saw through, if it hooks up on the block and stops and bends like that, then you've got a big problem because you have to restart this bear, and that's going to kill your time and make you very tired. So, single buck coming up next.
So let's take a look at the heats of the remaining 8 athletes, starting with Trincas against Moore, followed by Poisson against Marchal, Maurice against Voisin. That's heat number 3. And in heat number 4, we can see Courteau take on Pierre Puybaret. And I just love that competition, Troy. It's a tough one. And Christophe Trincas and Guillaume Moore in for, good competition. Personal best we see from Moore, but Trincas doesn't have one.
Yeah, he's going to have to drop that personal best in today. So, and Guillaume Moore, in for a penny, in for a pound. He's in a rough position right now. He needs as many points as he can. Obviously, he would want to start later in the ranking list, but unfortunately, he's the first athlete out there with Trincas. So that leaves him in a position to do his cut, hope his cut is good enough, and watch everybody else's cuts. And that is a tough spot. So Guillaume Moore with a 22.30 personal best. Interestingly enough, I don't have, excuse me, no, that's incorrect. I've still got the standing block chop heat lines up here. So here we go. All right, so Guillaume is ready.
Yep, and it's round number 2, consisting of single buck and springboard. And after this second round, we're going to have to say goodbye to another 2 athletes.
Okay.
And hopefully that's not going to be Christophe or Guillaume, but that means they have to be good in this discipline and collect a lot of points.
Especially being the first athletes on stage. All right, very good start by Guillaume Moore, and Trecaz immediately got a little bit of that hookup, and that's exactly what I was talking about. Guillaume Moore, meanwhile, using the entire length of that saw. He's so efficient with this in hand, and he is looking very good coming towards the bottom of that cut. Oh, and that is a clean personal best for Guillaume Moore with a 14.9. Oh, he is happy with that.
Brilliant.
Absolutely fantastic, and a personal best. There it is for Christophe Trecaz with a 20.99. Guillaume Moore has done what he needed to do. He can do nothing more in this discipline except go backstage and concentrate on what he has to do next in the springboard, but he's got to wait for all these other athletes to make their cuts. So he's got to hope that his personal best time of 14.64 now after adjustment will hold up.
Okay, gentlemen, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
And we should point out in this second round, every win is worth 16 points now instead of 12 points. So there is the possibility to earn more points here, which is something that's super important for a lot of these guys. They're in the lower half of the list because that's where they can really do damage and get themselves into the mix. Let's look at this in the restart here. So right there, a little bit of a hookup by Trecaz, but it didn't seem to affect him that badly as he got that saw moving again and kept going. What's really important with this discipline is not to twist or bend the saw, and you also have to remember to breathe. A lot of guys will start cutting, and I've done this as well, and they'll hold their breath, and their muscles will start to lose the oxygen feeding that they need.
That was great to watch, by the way. So you mentioned the 16 points. We also have a gap of 2 points between first, second, third, fourth, and so on.
Yeah.
So it really makes a difference if you end up in second, third, or fourth.
Yeah,
and
it's not like 12, 11, 10 anymore. It's now 16, 14, 12, etc. Yeah. So, yeah.
And of course, Pierre-Louis Poisson and Cyril Marchal know of this, and will give it all they have.
So Cyril Marchal wearing the bowling shoes. It's
very elegant, yes.
It's a French thing. I don't know. They are golf shoes, excuse me, bowling shoes. Can you imagine the alley keepers with those shoes bowling? Ay, ay, ay. It's my socks here. That's what's the problem.
Nice, by the way.
Yeah, a lot of guys will use spiked shoes. In this case, Cyril Marchal is opting for golf shoes. I don't see any spikes on Pierre-Louis Poisson's feet.
Athletes, ready.
Poisson at -1.90 as well should also have a very distinct advantage of being able to step well back and use the entire length of that saw. Cyril Marchal looking very good. You can see the tip of that saw disappearing into the block. Poisson is looking very good. This could be a great time. Oh! 15.23 personal best for Pierre-Louis Poisson. And Cyril Marchal with a 27.3. So Pierre-Louis Poisson, 15.23 personal best in second place. Cyril Marchal in third place right now in single buck. It looks like those golf shoes played the role they needed to play.
Oh, it's even corrected to 15.00.
Nice.
That means almost 3 seconds faster than his old personal best. That's wow.
And that was a fantastic cut. Now, interestingly enough, when we had our underhand chop, I wanted to mention that there was a little bit of knowledge that I got imparted by Jolanda Gnedinger. She told me that when the wood is chopping well, it usually doesn't saw well. Well, I'm going to have to give her a slap on the back of the hand here because the wood's chopped well for the underhand, but it's sawed very well for the single buck.
That was great.
Yeah, and look at that. I mean, he even had a couple of sticky spots there at the end of each of his strokes. If he can make that a little bit more efficient, then he's going to be a threat in this discipline in the future. Interestingly, too, you can see Cyril Marchal digging his elbow into that saw.
I was just going to say
so it bends it a little bit. It's a risky move, but he is so adept at this discipline that he knows exactly what he needs to do. The other thing you want to try and avoid is rocking the saw back and forth, because that's when it's going to hook up. Both of these guys did a fantastic job, but big shout out to Pierre-Louis Poisson for that great 15-second time.
Brilliant facial expression there at the end as we proceed to heat number 3. Alexandre Maurice taking on Loïc Vincent.
So Alexandre Maurice is probably the smallest athlete, and in this discipline, that can be a disadvantage. So if you're a 180, 185, and so on, as far as height is concerned, you can step back from the block. You can utilize the entire length of that saw and use your legs. But what is amazing with Alexandre Maurice is his ability to make himself tall when he's cutting. It's a strange phenomenon because you can see him out there. He's noticeably smaller.
Make himself.
He
make himself tall.
You'll see.
I'm just trying to follow. I'm going to try that tonight.
You'll see. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It seems like he can make himself look taller and cut taller, and you can see that right away. He's farther back than Loïc Vincent is from the block.
Oh, nice,
and he really uses the entire length
Look
of
at
that
the rhythm,
saw.
that's brilliant.
Yeah, and he's got a fantastic cut here. Loïc Vincent looking very good here as well as he uses the entire length of the saw. But look at that cut from Maurice.
Yes!
That is a great cut right there.
Are you kidding me?
16.31, and Loïc Vincent with a personal best 20.35. What a great cut from Maurice, and you see what I mean. Yeah, he's a small guy, but he looks big when he's making this cut for whatever reason. I don't know. It's a phenomenon.
I don't like doing this, but I have to say you're right. Yeah.
Thanks for that. I appreciate it.
I was watching this very closely because I haven't noticed before, I have to admit, but you're absolutely right. And he did a tremendous job. That was brilliant.
It was a great cut.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
So Guillaume Moore still holding on to that top spot. Alexandre Maurice in third place behind Pierre-Louis Poisson, who had that great personal best, 15 even, as we take a look back at the cuts here. Now let's watch Loïc Vincent as he cuts. Now he's using the entire length of the saw, but the pace that he's cutting at just isn't quite there. And you can see the muscles rippling here for Alex Maurice as he really works that saw. And you can also notice that the cookie that he's set his saw setup is a bit thinner than Loïc Vincent, so that's not dragging on the saw as much and binding on it as they make their cuts. But it was a very, very nice cut by both of these guys. Barely bending that saw at all. Fantastic job by Alex Maurice, 16-11, and in third place in single buck for the moment. And so far, the misery whip hasn't poked its head out of the closet of skeletons, but it may well still do. So last heat here, one more chance.
For the misery whip.
Adrien Courteau, who has been an absolutely pleasant surprise. I've mentioned this numerous times, but he has been fantastic today going up against Pierre Puybaret. The first time we're seeing these two guys on stage together. Pierre with the national record for single buck. Does that make the pressure for him more? I don't know. He's been around the block. I mean,
but I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, okay. I'm not sure.
National championships, all your friends, all your family are here, a lot of fans. You're preparing for the world championships. Well, you just got to feel the pressure.
This is the thing. He's been in this situation 8 times prior.
Okay.
Yeah? So you have to ask yourself, does it really affect him? Maybe.
Maybe affects him in a good way.
But maybe, I was just going to say, maybe it's a positive effect for him. The one thing where I agree with you, I hate to say it, is that because the World Championships is in France this year, he may be feeling the pressure to absolutely be sure to qualify for France.
Yeah, imagine that being an 8 times champion and then you have the World Championships in your home country and you don't make it. That'd be
smart
crazy
move by Adrien Courteau there as well. He put the saw in upside down and just did a couple of moves back and forth to test the run and also to clear out any of the slough that's sitting in that pre-set cut.
Okay, athletes ready.
Watch their styles as well. Two completely different styles. Pierre Puybaret, very wide stance. Courteau, very narrow stance. And Courteau, look at the choppy shortcuts by Courteau. This is an experienced thing. Puybaret with pace, but using the entire length of the saw. And this could be a very good cut by Puybaret here today. Will he have a personal best? I think so. Oh, he's got it! 14.44. I thought he had a personal best, but I misread it.
Best time
it's
of
the
the
best
day.
time of the day for sure. An 11.58 is his personal best in that discipline. But boy, that was a very good cut by him, and he's got the top spot there, just ahead of Guillaume and Pierre-Louis Poisson. And the cut from Adrien Courteau, solid at 19.76, a personal best for him. That puts him in the middle of the pack in single buck.
And I love the professionalism. He just packs his saw, you know, and walks up
Okay,
to hear the words.
both cuts are good.
Both
There you
cuts
go.
are good, thank you. I'm in first position. Au revoir.
All right, so you can see here Adrien Courteau. It's an experience thing on this saw, so maybe he hasn't trained the single saw as much. Maybe he's not feeling as comfortable with the saw. I don't know, but it just looked a little bit like a struggle. You can also see he's not wearing spiked shoes and he's slipping around a little bit more. So a guy in his size could definitely benefit from having spiked shoes. Now, I also noticed that Pierre Puybaret also not wearing spiked shoes, but for him, he's so big that he can plant himself and not move at all, and it's no problem for him.
But I'm still surprised because you just got to have a better grip with those spikes.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got their own style. So let's take a look here at single buck. Puybaret, Moore, great job. This is what he needed to do after that DQ in stock saw. Then Poisson, Maurice Courteau, Poisson, Marshall, Trincaz.
And taking a closer look at Courteau with claiming those 8 points.
Yes.
That's only half the amount of points that Puybaret is taking from this discipline.
Right.
So that, of course, means he's losing some distance here to Pierre Puybaret. And
we'll find that out as we get a look at the overall standings after the single buck standings are blended out. Here we go. Look at that. Courteau moves up into second place.
Yeah, but it's 11 points now that he's missing towards Puybaret.
And if we take a quick look there, Maurice sitting in third place, Poisson drops down to fourth, and Guillaume Moore is now among the top 5 here in the overall standings with one more discipline in round 2, and that is the springboard discipline. Now, the stage crew is going to be taking time to set up the springboard discipline, and this for me is like the culmination of a bunch of skills here in the springboard. It is a finicky one. We're going to use the axe in this one, and you can see here from this old picture, the guys go up high, and they're up way above the ground on the springboard with a sharp instrument in their hand. It is a fantastic discipline, and this is going to really separate the wheat from the chaff because they need to perform in this one in order to be among those top 6 athletes moving to the final round in the hot saw.
Absolutely, and it's not all about cutting wood. Sometimes it's also about cutting grass.
Oh.
The latest generation of IMO robotic mowers from STIHL mow your lawn automatically, so you don't have to, giving you a beautiful green lawn without even lifting a finger. Let's take a look at the new stylish range now.
There are 6 new IMO robotic mowers in the range, with 2 models in each number series, starting with the 5 series models for lawns up to 1,500 square metres, the 6 series models for lawns up to 3,000 square metres, and the 7 series models, which are suitable for lawns up to 5,000 square metres. Once you've chosen a model to suit your lawn size, you have the choice between a non-mobile connected version, which has the white cover, whilst the darker grey Evo models are mobile connected, allowing you to connect to it from wherever you are.
This means you can control many functions from the My IMO app, such as sending it out to mow, sending it back to the dock, changing its mowing plan, or checking on its status from wherever you are. The connected Evo models also have an LED matrix display on the top to show its current status too. For example, a spinning blade whilst it's mowing, or a padlock if it's locked in its dock. Whilst the Evo models have a mobile connection, all IMO models can be controlled easily in the STIHL My IMO app, either via your home Wi-Fi network if it reaches across your garden, or via Bluetooth when you're close to the machine.
IMO is installed by laying or burying a thin wire around the outer edges of your lawn, and around any obstacles like shrubs, trees, flower beds or water features. A second wire in the centre of the lawn helps the IMO travel home to charge. If it comes across other objects in the mowing area, the IMO sensors simply kick in, slow it down, softly bump into it, and it goes off in another direction. Whilst you can of course install these mowers yourself using our handy install guide, our network of STIHL approved dealers across Great Britain would also be more than happy to help you install them too, which is recommended for trickier installations with complex gardens or multiple mowing areas.
IMO is a mulching mower, which means it cuts small clippings of grass and drops it back into the lawn, acting as a natural and nutrient-rich fertiliser, with the added bonus of never having to empty your grass box again. It cuts the grass little and often, so that the small clippings decompose quickly and easily, leaving no trace apart from a well-nourished, lush green lawn. On the latest generation of IMO, we use a swing-tip blade system that's really efficient, plus the blades have 4 cutting edges, which rotate or swing round each time the blade stops to help them last as long as possible.
IMO has a dynamic mowing plan that can be easily tailored to your needs, so it can be programmed to mow when you're not using your garden. It's quiet too, so it won't disturb you if you're having a quiet afternoon relaxing on the patio. A key advantage of the STIHL IMO is its quick mowing times, so you can spend more time enjoying the garden with a lawn that always looks freshly mown. Adjustable rain sensors also let you choose whether it continues to work in the rain or makes up the mowing time when it dries up.
You don't have to worry about charging the IMO's lithium-ion battery either. It simply finds its way back to the weatherproof docking station and charges itself efficiently, ready for the next cut. If you want to quickly check the status of a mower without opening the app, or perhaps someone in the family who isn't using the app wants to check when it's next going to mow, they can press the info button on top of the IMO, which will let you know when the next mowing session is.
I will start mowing at 10:45 a.m.
You can also send it home, send it out to mow, or lock it with the simple buttons on top of the mower.
It doesn't matter if your garden isn't perfectly flat either. IMO's gradient sensors help it manage its speeds so it can handle slopes with ease. There's also wheel kits to help it get up steeper slopes too.
As with all other power tools, you should read the instruction manual before use, and we recommend children, animals, and any other smaller objects are not present when IMO is mowing.
IMO is the effortless way to achieve a lush green lawn. For more information, visit stihl.co.uk, or to find your nearest approved IMO dealer, visit stihl.co.uk/dealer and select the IMO option. Then all you need to do is sit back and enjoy your garden.
So here we are back again. You can see Springboard will start in 17 minutes and 55 seconds. I have a question, Troy.
Yes.
You've brought back the axe.
Yep.
We've seen the athletes use this on the underhand chop, on the standing block chop. Is that the same axe they're going to use on the Springboard?
Sometimes yes, not always no. Depends depends on the test block. So the athletes will have test blocks in the back lot, and they will do test cuts on the test blocks. These are not the blocks that they're actually using, but they are from the same stand of trees.
So how many axes will they bring?
Average athletes will have a minimum of 4 axes up to 8 axes with different cuts. So different is, and maybe I can angle this just a little bit. You can see this shape right here that goes down to the blade. So this is called a banana. There are other ones where that wedge is right here on the front edge, and that's called a chisel. I mean, there's so many different versions. There's a half banana. There's all sorts of different variations, and each one cuts the wood differently based on how the athlete is feeling about that wood on any given day. So they will choose the axe based on their test blocks and the hits that they do. So they'll take their box of axes back there, and they will try a few hits with each of their axes to see which one is cutting better.
So that's what I would do at golf, for instance. You know, try the different clubs and woods and...
Yeah, okay, that's a fair one. You're not going to use a pitching wedge to go off of your long drive, though.
But I thought about that a long time to bring something into the game, but okay.
But I mean, this is the thing, and so depending on how that is cut and what kind of let's call it moisture content in the wood, it will react differently as it enters the wood. Sometimes an axe will get stuck in there, and then they'll know, okay, let's try a different one. They'll try a different axe when it impacts and gets into the wood. It will pop the wood out. And so that's what they're looking for.
It would do what?
It will pop the wood out. So you'll see these chips flying out of the wood. when we saw the standing block chop or the underhand chop earlier, those first couple of drivers that went in, sometimes you saw a guy's axe get stuck in the wood and he had to wrench it out like this, and that takes time and energy. And other times you see the axe impact and the wood literally flies away from the block. That's
I got you now.
the difference between why they're choosing the different types of cuts in their axes. Half banana, banana chisel. There's like tons of different ones. There's all these different axe manufacturers that are experimenting with all these different shapes and shaves and gradients and everything. So, yeah.
So that's got my mind working. I think I'll take a short break and we'll give you some ideas of steel products that you might need for home.
STIHL's new range of 2 Series petrol-powered lawnmowers are designed for domestic users with medium to large-sized lawns to take care of. They're packed full of features to help you get a great quality finish on the lawn, whilst being easy to operate and simple to manoeuvre around the garden. The 2 Series range has a number of models with different sized sturdy steel decks, with each deck size indicated by the model's name. The RM248 has a 48cm deck and the RM253 has a 53cm deck. There are also versions in the range that have single-speed drive, ideal for larger lawns. These models will have a T at the end of a product name, such as the RM248T. Powered by efficient petrol engines, they're able to efficiently drive the blade in the varying widths of models, as well as providing drive to the rear wheels of some models too. A good lawnmower is made up of a combination of factors. The blade needs to be designed to give sufficient lift to the grass to make sure it stands up straight for a neat cut. For this lift, there needs to be a good airflow under the deck of the mower, and enough flow generated so if you're collecting your cuttings, they can be directed into the collection box and pack it full. All mowers in the range are designed with this in mind, as well as ease of use. All models feature our mono handlebar, which makes it really simple to access, remove and replace the grass catcher box, as you don't need to crouch or stretch underneath where the other bar would be. This mono handlebar has a very sturdy feel to it, and is also foldable, so when you've finished mowing, you can fold it over for space-saving storage. These new mowers have a 4-in-1 mowing function. You can choose to cut and collect the clippings, cut and drop the clippings, mulch if you want to send the fine clippings back to the lawn as a natural, nutrient-rich fertiliser, or finally, you can side discharge by opening the side flap and adding the chute, which is included with the mower. To mulch, simply put the mulch plug in the back of the mower here to block the grass chute. The polymer box has a number of key benefits, including great airflow to fill the grass box full. All the vents face downwards, so in summer if it's dusty, it's all directed towards the ground. On top there's a fill indicator which drops when the box is full, reminding you to empty it. The box is very simple to open and empty the grass cuttings too. Simply grab the handles and release the switch to open it up like a clamshell. A polymer box is also very simple to clean out and will dry quickly too. Whilst these models have a tough steel deck, much of the rest of the mower is made from high-grade polymer components. So the handle is comfortable to hold and the mower is light and still easily manoeuvrable. The design also means that pivoting at the end of a lawn is simple and requires minimal effort. The mowing height is adjusted simply with the help of our single-point height adjustment. Just pop your hand under here and lift. A spring helps with the weight of the mower, so it can be done with just one hand. To keep the mower's wheels moving freely, we fitted double ball bearing wheels, which have a great service life and help keep the mower moving easily and straight for longer. Some additional accessories for the mowers include our RM care kits, which include a cleaning spray, cloth and brush to scrape grass cuttings from the deck, keeping it working as intended for longer. Find out more at stihl.co.uk or your nearest STIHL approved dealer.
So just over 10 minutes until we start with the springboards. Please go ahead.
I was just going to say, just to clarify the gap, why it takes so long to set the stage up is because they're building trees. That's what they call it. The springboard is the discipline called tree. And they have to put, there you go.
Yeah,
and it is a process to get these stands up there. And then on the top of those stands, each athlete is required to drill their own block in place. So That being said, it takes a long time, and this is the reason why it has about a 20-minute break between the end of our last discipline, single buck, and the start of this discipline, springboard. But once they're up there, it'll be worth it because this is a dramatic discipline, and there's so many crazy things that can happen. It's madness.
I got a sentence for you. It's 2 to Toulouse.
What?
We are going to Toulouse, my friends, in November for the STIHL Timbersports World Championships, and this always has a very, very special atmosphere.
Oh yeah, the World Championship atmospheres are to die for. Probably one of the most spectacular atmospheres I've ever been involved in was the World Championships in the Czech Republic in Prague in 2019, I believe it was.
Yep.
It was absolutely fantastic. In fact, I think we have some video footage from that, and just to give you an idea of what the atmosphere is like at a World Championship, it's like, yeah, absolutely. Let's check it out.
It comes down to mid-charges and Saint Gaudens battling hard on the standing block. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Australia or New Zealand? Oh my God, how close is this? And it's Australia!
The atmosphere last night in the team's relay was unreal.
That is their title of Team World Champion 2 years in a row.
Oh, definitely. It'd be the noisiest crowd I've competed against.
Shane Jordan's already over there.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of getting goosebumps thinking about it right now.
The crowds here, they were just erupting.
You feel the energy of the crowd.
My goodness, what a great comeback from Belgium with a time of 1.
The crowd was absolutely electric.
And it was so much noise and support.
Ja, doch, das pusht schon rum und mein Fanclub ist auch da.
Very passionate about their country and, yeah, the competitors.
Yeah, it feels super.
Oh my goodness, look at this.
It's pretty awesome to compete in front of a crowd like this.
But he's not giving up. He's looking good.
Like such an adrenaline rush. It's an amazing feeling.
They make a lot of noise, and that's good for our spirit.
It's going to be the Czech Republic, and the crowd goes bananas.
It's absolutely extreme here. Man hört's.
And again, you missed out on what was happening to this massive man when he sees those emotions. That's brilliant. No, brilliant to be part of that. And Toulouse is going to be just as amazing, I'm very sure. So try and be part of it. If you get any chance to be involved, do it. There's not a lot of tickets left, but I think if you're fast, you might be lucky enough. And team competition, I mean...
Team competition, they're still available for the team competition. I think there might be some available for the individual, but they sell out quick. And I mean, the fans are voracious when it comes to this, you know? You've seen it. So it's an amazing atmosphere. It's a ton of fun, and everybody just gets deep, deep, deep into it. No matter if you're a hometown fan or if you're just kind of curious and want to check it out, you get involved just like that.
And from my point of view, team competition is absolutely amazing. And we still got some tickets for that. And you know some of the teams that are going to be competing, right?
Yeah, and actually it's very interesting. For the first time ever, we're going to have a team from China joining us on stage. I'm going to read these names for you, folks, but please be aware that I might, completely murder these ones as well. So from China, we have Yi Jaiwan, Bao Liu, Peng Shanzhu, and Qi Wang. So this is a
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well done.
Gesundheit. So, I mean, this is a fantastic thing for us because it's the first time we're having a Chinese team over here.
And don't underestimate the Chinese team.
Don't underestimate them. There were crews from STIHL Timbersports and Bart Janssen and his guys went over there. They ran some competitions and some training camps for the Chinese. So it's going to be very interesting to see. But realistically speaking, are they going to have a chance? Maybe. I mean, let's not count them out. There have been surprises surprises in the past, but what's no surprise is who's going to be joining Team Australia. They are the reigning world champion team, and I mean, they're going to be a tough one to beat. Brad DeLosa, Braden Meyer, Jamie Head, otherwise known as Jim, Mitch Argent, Cody Steers, and I mean, this is a group of guys that have been together for a long, long time. They always add a new athlete every couple of years just to start to generate the new blood in the team. But this is a team that is consistently solid, and they always are able to perform. Cody Steers will be joining the team this year. He might have a bigger role on the standing. We'll see. That's been traditionally Mitch Argent's or Jamie Head's job, but yeah, it's going to be a very interesting competition. Also, Team USA will be adding a female athlete this year.
Oh, that's going to be cool.
It is going to be Samantha Graves joining them. So much like what Norway did a couple of years ago, they have Denmark, excuse me, with Felicia. So
brilliant, yeah.
you know, she did a great job on that stock saw. Whether or not Samantha will be participating in the final competition on stock saw remains to be seen, but she is a member of the team. And it's highly anticipated. Team competition uses the trophy format, which is an elimination format, so things go fast, and it's always happening quick, and that's a really fun one to watch.
Yeah, and everything you need to know about the World Championships, well, of course we've got a clip coming up for you. Enjoy.
What else?
I can already hear this French music getting us into the mood.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to that one. It's going to be fun.
I know. I've been to Toulouse last night, you know, just to do some research.
Yeah,
it's
research.
A beautiful city. It's absolutely amazing. It's vibing. So, I mean, come and join us. You're going to love it.
What I just wanted to interject really quickly. What we have to also point out is France is automatically qualified because of the host country.
True.
But there is the European ranking. We'll talk about that a little bit later after the springboard is done. Just to give you an idea of how the other European teams get in there. There are 4 international teams also coming over: New Zealand, Australia, Canada, the USA. They're going to be in the mix as well, but it's only going to be 7 teams from the various European nations, and there are 2 more European teams that will be, or European championships that will be competing. Next weekend is going to be Switzerland, and then the weekend following is going to be the Czech Republic, and then that will determine our list of teams and athletes that are going to be joining us at the World Championships. So there's still action coming up. If you want, check out STIHLTimbersports.com.
Oh, yeah.
And you can find out more about the athletes and the events that are coming up as well.
And of course, one of the French athletes that we're going to see now will be competing at these World Championships.
Yes.
Who it's going to be, well, we're going to find out. And of course, they have to do the springboard that we've been waiting for so long. And just so that you know how springboard works, guess what?
Tool and discipline. Here we go.
Springboard. Springboard simulates the traditional way of felling trees, climbing up over thick roots. First, notches known as pockets are chopped into the log. 2 springboards are then anchored into these pockets. The athlete then climbs up to chop through a 27-centimeter thick block of wood in the fastest time possible.
So here we go with the start list for the springboard. Christophe Trincas and Guillaume Moore in the first heat, Pierre-Louis Poisson and Cyril Machal in heat number 2. Heat 3 consisting of Alexandre Meurice and Loic Vanson. And finally in Heat 4 we're going to see Adrien Courteau against Pierre Puybaret. Oh wow, look at those trees. And look at those men competing in the springboard. First hit, Christophe Trincaz against Guillaume Moore. And I tried everything to get those names right, but it's Guillaume Moore. Guillaume, not Guillaume.
It's a tough one. The French have such a special twang to the way their names are pronounced, and if you say it wrong, it just sounds like a dog's breakfast. And I'm really sorry that we've murdered a few of these names, but
we've got the pictures, so that helps.
The pictures help. So Christophe Trincaz and Guillaume Moore, both of these guys over a minute. Christophe, 2 minutes and change for his. So, I mean, this is something that these guys need to improve on big time if they want to get into the best in the world in this discipline. As you see, you know, the springboard's world record was just recently broken in the USA at 35:43.
That is ridiculous. That is
it's
crazy.
madness. And you know that the previous record was 35 and change, and that was held by Sterling Hart, and that was done in 2016. Springboard was broken this year by Walt Page with 35:43, so it's fantastic. So just getting into the action here, and you know, it might seem a little bit slow at the start, but what's critical here is to set that pocket as quickly as possible. The optimal pocket is 4 hits, so you get that axe in there 4 times, and then set your pocket and put your board in place. So you can see right away, both of these guys, Trincaz and Moore, have their boards on that first spot. That first spot's not really critical. It's important because they need to have a solid board to set their second pockets. Here, this second board now being set up by Christophe Trincaz is going to be the key board for him. Look at the angle, watch when he gets up there and how that toe hooks in. So now, if he's got a solid lock in that toe or in that claw that's inside the pocket, he can place himself back on the board. Now, he's not feeling confident, obviously, because he's moved forward on the board, and now Guillaume Moore is on the top of his. Now, both of these guys have really good boards. They're either slightly up-angled or basically flat parallel to the ground, and that's key. You want to be able to step back out on the board and really be able to push off of that back foot, twist your hips, and put the power into the axe. Trincaz is now getting fairly deep on that first side. Guillaume Moore doing his best to catch up. Trincaz has had a very, very good springboard so far. Ooh, a little bit of a slip there. Got to be real careful. And I also see a bit of a dark spot in there too. So he's going to switch over to that, I like to call it the awkward angle very shortly. Guillaume Moore has done a good job to get deep and quick on that first side, and Trincaz has now moved over to his second side, and he'll start to try and cut down and get through that board. Is he going to do it? He's going to do it in 1:44.78, obliterating his previous best time. Great job, Guillaume Moore, with a 1:47.42. So those two guys setting the pace for the moment for the springboard. I mean, you can see here how busy it is. There's so many things going on. And let's not forget, these guys are 2 meters off the ground, holding a sharp instrument in their hand, having to do work.
Talk about the original extreme sport. That's the discipline, if you ask me.
That's the discipline. And this is really the discipline, like I said earlier on in the show, that's going to separate the wheat from the chaff. These guys have to do so much, think about so much, be so focused up there, because if that board starts to slip, you've got to be really on point.
Both cuts are good.
Well done.
All right.
2 minutes and 30 seconds. That's our time limit that we have before we get a DQ.
Yeah, and they've also done this for several reasons. One, it's a long time to be up there. Two, it's a safety aspect. After 2 minutes of cutting, those last 30 seconds, your body is starting to shut down. You're getting tired. Everything is starting to get harder to do. And the more tired you get at that height above the ground, having to cut, the more chances of something untoward happening, and you don't want that.
Oh, no, you really don't want that.
All right, let's take a look back here. This is, I believe, Trincaz.
And look at the massive crowd, even though the weather is not perfect. Everybody really enjoying that.
And I believe that Trincaz actually had a 4-hit pocket on that first pocket. I didn't get an accurate count there because I was blabbering the whole time, but that is actually the ideal situation. So really, if you can get 4 and 4 and get up there and then be fast on that top block, you're basically doing a standing block chop on that top block. You know, it's really about the confidence and getting your back foot as far back on that board as possible.
It's a standing block chop, but no, it's not a standing block chop. Look at
no, it's a bouncing block chop in this case.
It's I'd be so scared up there. It's crazy.
And you can see, I mean, the guys are tired. Yeah? They're tired. There's a lot of stuff going on up there. Mentally, it's challenging. And when you're mentally challenged, you're also getting physically challenged. All right, here we go.
Number 2, Pierre-Louis Poisson is in the race against Cyril Marchal. So I'm going to count the pockets for you now. 3, 4 hit, 5, 6.
6-hit pocket there for Marchal.
Oh, he didn't empty that pocket.
Yeah, he didn't empty the pocket, but I don't think he cares about this first pocket. He just wants to get in there. He'll do some house cleaning on the second pocket, and Marchal's still working on... Oh, no, he's setting up his second pocket now, so that looks good. Excuse me, Poisson. Look at the sag on Poisson's board, though. So he does not want to have that on that top pocket. And there, little house cleaning. And again, this is about the confidence of your pocket setting. If you feel confident with your pocket setting, and now Poisson's going to get up there, but I feel like that board's going to start to sag on him, and that's going to be a problem.
Already is.
Yeah, and when it sags like that, you don't want to go back out on the board because it's going to pull out even more. And you could see the angle on Marchal's board.
He weighs 110 Ks. You know, this is not just... a small guy stepping on a board.
These are big boys, yeah, and you know you want to make sure your board is in good position. Marchal, look at his board. He's got a high board, but look at his foot position.
He could step back further, right?
Yeah, and this is the thing, right? It's a lot about it. He's got a great board. He's in a perfect position. He could step back with that back foot and put power into those drivers and cut the time that he's taking to cut maybe
you think
significantly.
He's missing the confidence?
Absolutely. You got to feel good about being on the board there. You don't want to fall down, obviously, so that's in your head the whole time you're up there. And, you know, he's got to be thinking about it, and he's working on his second side now as the time has gone past 1:30, and, you know, this is a critical point for these guys.
At Poisson. I mean, this...
Yeah, Poisson's done a good job, so 1:40.24. Poisson's got to get there in 2:30, and he's going to do it by the looks of it in 1:48.40. So that's a personal best for... Pierre-Louis Poisson, but he is currently in 4th place, even with his personal best in the Springboard rankings. All right. So I think we should be good on the cuts here. We'll see what...
Okay, gentlemen, both cuts are good.
Yep, there we go. So it's official, both cuts are good. Poisson with a personal best, but sitting in 4th place in the Springboard results at the moment. And remember, after the Springboard discipline is done, we're going to reduce our lineup by 2 athletes and take only 6 into that 3rd and final round.
Which is the hot saw.
The hot saw.
Can't wait.
Yeah, it's a tough one because they call the hot saw the maker or the breaker, but really this is the discipline that can break an athlete who's been very good throughout the remainder of the competition. Mentally and physically, it could take them from being in the top 5 to being outside of the ranking to go into the hot saw. So this is really, for me, this is the make or break discipline until they get to the hot saw.
And this was not a perfect start for both athletes.
No, but I mean, we see here Marchal's pocket. He had some slough in there. He didn't bother doing any house cleaning, like I mentioned. And the problem there is, if you've got that stuff that's in there, that can cause the board. So excuse me. This is Poisson's board, and you could see the tooth grabs hold, but it sagged because there was some stuff that was just stuck in there that didn't allow it to really get a clean hold. On that second pocket, you know, he got a pretty clean pocket, but he wanted to have a little more house cleaning there. And this is the thing about confidence and really knowing that you've got your pocket cuts on point, is getting them quickly and accurately. So you just put the board in and you know you're in a right position. Now, Cyril Marchal here, he did a great job to get that top board in place, and he had a nice up angle. I mean, he was above flat, so, you know, he could have stepped back, but we mentioned during the competition he had his feet really close together. So what's happening there is most of his cutting power is coming from his upper body and shoulders and not using his core strength, which he could absolutely use to his advantage, because we know he's a good standing block chopper, and that's basically what he's doing up there. Just got to get that back foot out to the back. And I say just got to get the back foot out to the back when you're 2 meters above the ground with a razor-sharp axe in your hand.
And that, of course, is one of the disciplines that is the most difficult to practice.
Yes, it is. It's absolutely difficult to practice because how do you set it up? Where can you set it up? You have to have the right material in order to be able to set the tree up and have that block on the top. You've got to have your springboards, and you can't do this alone. You need somebody there with you because if something happens, you need to have somebody there to be able to help you. So it's a tough one. We started to see it in the rookies as well with a single board, but in the rookie competitions, it's just sporadic when we see the springboard with single board because by the rules of STIHL Timbersports, they have to qualify with a safety test before they can do the springboard single board, which absolutely makes sense. So it's a starting point now that the rookies are getting into the springboard with a single board to practice the cut pocket, setting the board and cutting that top block so that when they do get to that pro level, it won't be a surprise that they have to do springboard and train for it.
But that, of course, is one of the reasons why it's so hard to improve in that discipline.
Yeah.
You can practice the other disciplines much more easily. Yeah. You can, you know, if you go to your spot and do your stuff day by day, why not? You know, but springboard, that's very special. And that's why it is one of those disciplines, just like you said, where the big difference might arouse. And of course, that's going to be a big one at the World Championships as well.
Right.
And to be at the World Championships, you mentioned the overseas teams and also the European ranking. And that's something I think we also need to talk about and go more into detail.
Yeah, the European ranking can be confusing, but basically you look at it like a competition like we're having here today, but just with the European nations. You see there underhand chop, steel stock saw, standing block chop, single buck, springboard, and hot saw. And based on the rankings throughout the competitions in Europe during the year, you could see we have 10 teams there. 7 teams will be going on. If we take France out of the mix here, they're automatically going in. So 7 teams with France will be qualified. It will be 8 teams in total. Then we're going to add the 4 overseas teams. And of course, the guest team from China is going to be in the mix as well. So right now,
the top 7 are not automatically at the World Championships, right?
Well, right now, there's still 2 more national championships that need to happen in Switzerland and in the Czech Republic, and that may mix things up a little bit. But realistically speaking, the only thing that could happen is that Armin Kugler and Glenn Pendleton could get pushed down and out of the top 7. But at the moment, Ferry Swan, Redmer Knoll, Kern Martens, Mika Dubitsky, Danny Martin, Armin Kugler, and Glenn Pendleton are in the mix. And like I said, Glenn and Armin are the guys that are on the bubble with 2 more competitions still to come.
And it's all about the times, not the locations, just to make sure.
Correct, yeah.
So that's how you collect the points.
Exactly. It's about, you know, it's about those points that they get. It's exactly the same as the competition we're having here today. You know, it's the amount of points they get for each of the individual disciplines, and those points are calculated throughout the season, and then given that ranking list, and that's how they choose the nations.
So that's going to be an interesting one to follow as well, like over the next few weeks. So before we proceed to the World Championships, we've got Friday competition and Saturday competition. Maybe we've not explained enough what's going to be happening on Friday and on Saturday, Toulouse.
Well, the Friday and Saturday competitions, usually or traditionally, the Saturday competition is the individual competition, if I'm not mistaken. And that will be where we're seeing the same style of competition what we have to here today. 6 disciplines over 3 rounds. And there you're having the absolute best in the world competing with each other. And then on the Friday, it's the team competition, which we mentioned earlier, which is that champion trophy, or that trophy format where it's a knockout, and it's high octane, high speed, fast pace, craziness, and anything can happen there.
So 8 athletes on stage at the same time, 4 of each team, just handing it over, and
yeah, it's madness, but it is so fun to watch. And the trophy format is one of my favorites, and if you really want to see fantastic discipline training and runs, then that's definitely the individual format. I mean, both are great, and you're going to see the best in the world go at it. And
say hello to us, because we're definitely going to be there.
We're definitely going to be there.
Get your hashtags, Kiss My Axe, STIHL Timbersports, and get ready for the next discipline and the next heat, because we are ready to rock with Alexandre Meurice and Loic Voisson.
The guys have done a good job to get their blocks drilled in place up top. Again, I mentioned that the athletes are responsible for placing their own blocks atop the tree stands. And Alexander Maurice, definitely a guy with a huge advantage here because he's got power in his upper body and arms, but he's a small guy. He's light. So the springboard is a discipline where he can absolutely excel at.
Okay, athletes, ready.
Stands to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
That's a 4-hit pocket by Loic Voisin. Good job, and he's going to get that board in. Oh, he doesn't like it. He's going to go back and do a little more work on that. Maurice is already on setting his second pocket. 5-hit pocket for Maurice on number 2 as he gets his board in place, and he is up top. And now it's going to be the key here. Is he going to feel confident enough to put that back foot all the way back out there? He's gingerly testing it. He did a quick little stutter step towards the back there, and he's looking good on the top. Loic Voisin is struggling to get that second pocket the way he likes it, and now he's got it set, and he'll put that board in place. And let's see, it looks like it's a pretty good board. It's going to be about him getting in there and locking that tooth in place. But look at his foot placement. His foot's all the way at the back of the board, so he can use his power to his advantage here. And he's a big boy, but Maurice has a huge lead on Loic Voisin at the moment, so he'll be switching over to that awkward angle fairly soon.
And the best time so far, that's 1.42.
Yeah.
So that is possible, definitely possible.
Thus far, I mean, the time to beat is 1:42.15, held by Cyril Marchal.
He's definitely going to make that.
Yeah,
that's
for
brilliant.
Sure. And he's now moving to that awkward angle on the backside. He chokes up on the axe handle a little bit, and he just tries to get the power in there. And one more driver should do it. Oh, 2 maybe. Yeah,
here we go.
1:25.77 for Alexander Maurice. That is a fantastic time under the circumstances here today. That puts him on top of the leaderboard. Meanwhile, Loic Voisin struggling to get some clean cuts on that first side. He's getting tired. He's getting flat, and he's got a dark spot in that block that I can see right there. So he should switch to that second side fairly soon, but he's done a lot of cutting from below, so he's left a lot of material on top in the way of this cut right here as he gets to the 2-minute mark fairly shortly. Will he stay under 2 minutes? No, I don't think he will. It's not going to happen as he is struggling to get that axe done and through, and he does it in 2:03.49. So he needed a 1:42 and change for the lead, but he did not make it here. And Alexander Maurice, slower than his favorite or his personal best time, but at the moment he has the top spot in the springboard.
And only 2 more athletes to come, so that's great.
Yeah, 1 more heat and the stands are all ready to go, so we just have to bring those guys out there and let them go to town.
Also in the overall standings, that's a great one for Maurice.
And I should point out, too, that we're seeing a lot more guys that are doing CrossFit in their off-season training in order to be able to have that muscle strain and still be able to work through it in these situations. Because let's be honest, you know, an 8-kilo axe in your hand, swinging it back and forth 50, 60 times in a heat, that's going to take its toll on your body. And if you're not trained with the endurance under stress and under pressure, it's going to cause problems. So a lot of these guys are taking that time in the off season to do that training.
And I think Ferry Swan from Sweden was one of the first guys to be like a representative for this new generation.
Absolutely. Ferry Swan was basically the guy that that put the, let's be honest, put the gauntlet down and said, hey, you need to be fit in this new modern generation of timber sports athletes. And you're absolutely correct, Fahoti. You know, Ferry was the guy that was instrumental in making sure that everybody stayed fit. Now you can see there, Loic Voisin had a little quick look over towards Maurice. And Maurice was just doing his thing there. One last little tap to drop that block off the top. And Loic Voisin, like I said, was he just left a little bit too much material on the front side on the top.
And you talked about Ferry Swan, you know, being on top of the list at the moment. We're going to have a documentary on him coming out.
Right.
just when the World Championship is taking place. And talking about the World Championship, Pierre Puybaret, he definitely wants to compete there in Toulouse, and he's taking on Adrien Courteau in this final heat here at the Springboard. So things are going wild at the moment. You can see the crowd, closing in. There's some umbrellas out there because it started to rain again, but nobody cares.
Nobody cares. They're enjoying the action here. It's a good crowd. Umbrellas or not, there's lots of people in raincoats, and there's lots of people just standing there bareheaded enjoying the warm summer rain.
Even the dog was watching. So
yeah, even the dogs are watching.
Okay, athletes, ready.
Keep a close eye on Pierre Puybaret here, though.
3, 2, 1, go! Lancé pour STIHL Team Série.
Four-hit pocket for Puybaret. He gets right in there. He doesn't care at all. Look at that board, though. It's perfect.
He's done it under a minute before. So
yeah, he's got a 55 personal best. So that's a four-hit pocket for number 2, but Adrien Courteau right there with him, and he is not letting Puybaret get too far away.
I like that.
A little bit of a sag by the board, but it seems that it's locked in, but no, he doesn't like it. He's going to go down and reset that pocket, and that is a problem for Courteau. And meanwhile, Puybaret, look at the steep angle on that board. Okay, so that is great for stability, but it's not really optimal for being able to hit properly because he's up really high. So he's got to hit down most of the time. And those up hits, as you can see there, he was struggling a little bit with those up hits. He's not going to get his personal best time here. That's for sure not going to happen, but he should be the fastest time of the day.
1:26, so I'm not sure about that. That could be a close call.
Well, it could be a close call. We'll see. Meanwhile, Adrien Courteau is really doing a good job on that first side, and this guy has been fantastic
you talked
all
about
day
a
long.
Positive surprise. It's definitely this man, Alexandre.
And this is interesting. Pierre Puybaret is now narrowing in on 20 seconds, 1 minute and 20 seconds. And now I'm thinking he might not have the fastest time of the day in the springboard. Nope, it's not going to happen. It's going to stay with Alexandre Maurice as he gets onto that second side. He should be through fairly soon. And Adrien Courteau has done a great job to catch up here. He's doing a fantastic job on this springboard.
Adrien Courteau, I mean, this guy is...
Could it be that he's actually going to be faster than
my
Puybaret?
word! And it's all about those points.
Oh my goodness! Look at what's happening here. Puybaret is going to do it.
This is so
One more driver here, and it's got sticky wicket for Puybaret, but he's got it in 151.77, and Courteau has done it in 158.55. Crazy times for these two guys.
They're not going to be happy with that at all.
Not at all. So right now, Pierre Puybaret and Adrien Courteau are in. Courteau, are in 6th and 7th position in springboard. That still gives Puybaret the top spot in the overall rankings, but
he's there. He's there. The smallest of all the guys. He's done a tremendous job.
He's done a tremendous job. Maurice has done a fantastic job on that one, and he is sitting in 2nd place overall right now with Cyril Marchal, the legend, in 3rd place.
Are good.
All right, folks, so we're going to take a look at the official results here from Springboard and then give you the lowdown on the overall standings as we move towards our round 3 and the hot saw.
Time to look at the slow-mos and find out who made it to the final round.
Yep.
Because, of course, only 6 athletes will be able to compete in that final round. And there's going to be a lot of points awarded to the
Yes. So let's take a look here. So this was an absolutely great job by Adrien Courteau. I mean, he's been fantastic all day, and he gets to this last discipline, didn't like the way this board was sitting, immediately took the board out and reset that thing. And then when he finally did get up there, he started working on that block and did a great job on the block. But you could see here, he started to get that sag, and then he was like, nah, don't like it, and he reset that pocket. And meanwhile, there you see Puybaret. He was not feeling comfortable on that board. You could see
not at all.
You could see it in his teeth. His teeth were chattering on that one as that board was
under
wiggling.
A minute before, you know, a number of times. So
he's had 55-second runs, so that's not the issue here. He just didn't feel good on that board. And I mentioned, you know, you could have a steep board if it's a little above 90 degrees, you know, like maybe 110, 115 or so. That's okay. But he had a board that is up there around like 130 or so, and that angle is too much to be able to get those nice clean bottom hits, and he still managed to do a pretty good job. but it's just an uncomfortable angle to be hitting at. And you can see here there's a really steppy block there from Adrien Courteau, and on the backside, both of these guys really working hard. And I thought Adrien Courteau was going to catch up and actually pass Pierre Puybaret, but Puybaret was just a little bit faster by like 1.5, 2 seconds, and you can see here he had to stabilize himself on those last 2 hits in that sticky bit there.
Oh, he didn't enjoy that at all. So
no.
Let's take a look at the final. I know why. That's the final ranking here at the springboards, with Maurice taking the 16 points, Marshall 14, Trincart 12, Moore 10, Wes, Puybaret, Poisson 8. So Puybaret with 6 points, and that's definitely is not what he expected in that discipline.
No, but he's been so solid throughout the rest of the disciplines that he's got enough points to put him on the top. If we take a look at the overall standings here shortly, we'll see what's happened. And in springboard, even though he got that 6th place position, he had enough points to take over and hold on, and rather not take over, but hold on to that top spot, but by only 4 points ahead of Alexander Maurice. And Cyril Marshall is with 43, Courteau with 42, Moore with 42 is in there. He's in there.
Yep.
So now it comes down to the hot saw.
And look at the points that are being awarded in the hot saw. You know, we're talking about 6 points difference between the 1st and the 3rd place.
Correct.
And if you end up in 4th, then we have 9 points of difference.
Yep.
So there's going to be a lot of pressure on all these guys, especially let's say the top 2, and then even Marshall and Courteau, you know, 43, 42 points.
Yep. I mean, Poisson at this point is the only guy that's really outside of the list there, where there's not much of a chance that he's going to be able to jump into a position on the podium unless all of the top 4 or 5 guys end up being eliminated because of DQ and he has a good cut.
So that's going to be absolutely amazing, getting ready to rock and roll here at the STIHL Timbersports French Pro Championship 2024.
Yep.
Things are getting really exciting. Only one more round, only one more discipline, and that, of course, is a very, very special one.
The hot saw is for all you motorheads out there. If you like motorcycles, if you like race cars, hot rods, anything like that, the sound from these saws is exactly up your alleyway, gasoline alleyway, in fact. And we can sort of hear them in the background here getting warmed up and started. These are also very finicky, very dangerous, very powerful machines.
I'm happy we're close to the stage, but
not that close.
on the stage. So everything you need to know about the hot saw, we're going to tell you right now. I hope.
Maybe.
If you feel like it. It's going to be loud. It's going to be cool.
These custom handmade race-tuned machines are built for maximum power and precision and to cut the wood as fast as possible in a competition. They are built with a 60 to 80 horsepower single-cylinder 2-stroke engine, often taken from a snowmobile or high-powered motorbike. The hot saw can weigh up to 30 kilograms and its chain rotates at over 250 kilometers an hour. The cost of a competition hot saw used in STIHL Timbersports is upward of 6,000 euros. Hot saw. For the hot saw, power saws are called into action and the athletes have a space of 15 centimeters to cut 3 complete discs off a 46 centimeter thick wooden block. Jumping the start or cutting over the line will result in a disqualification.
Oh, look at those pictures, Troy. What does that do to your heartbeat?
Yeah, it makes it go a little faster. That is our service station for the hot saws. You can see those monster machines there. As you heard, that chain turns at an incredible speed. These things cut through the wood like butter. They are so heavy And there's so much going on with these machines as well. You know, if you've got one in the hand, we had one in the studio a few years ago, and if you got it in your hand and you lift the saw when it's not running at all, it's like, oh, geez, I got to hold it up like this. And then you turn the thing on, the motor's moving, everything's shaking, and then you've got to cut 3 cookies on this 15 centimeters.
It's loud.
It's nuts.
I'm a lot of Formula One, but trust me, this is even louder.
Yeah, it's madness how loud it is. And there's a reason why they call this discipline the maker or the breaker. I mentioned this earlier on during our springboard, but there's so much that can happen with these saws. It's bananas.
We've seen it all.
Yeah. Why don't we'll take a quick look at the warm-ups, and maybe we can have a look at the maker or breaker clip, and just to give you an idea of what that's all about.
Drama, baby, drama.
This is the one and only discipline where the athletes are alone on stage.
Yeah, probably the most important event, but yeah, also the most frustrating.
These saws are so incredibly powerful and dangerous.
Usually the hot saw is the slider. Hot saw, hot saw. I can't describe to you when we're out there under pressure.
Starts well, first disc looks solid, cut is good.
You know, you're always ending the competition on a hot saw, so you know where you're going to be at when you finish. So you're either at a real big high or just is what it is.
Nice clean cuts, easy, relaxed.
Hot saw is a love-hate for me. I honestly don't get that much enjoyment out of it. I'm not a motorhead. I swallow my pills and eat it.
Once the competition comes, anything can happen. Oh no, a false start by Sterling Hart. What a disaster.
Yeah, it was a disappointment for me. Happens though, it's part of competing.
I saw there was 3 good discs there, but then let that nose come right up underneath the crossover line.
Unfortunately, a disqualification.
It all relies on the hot saw.
It went good up until the hot saw. I disqualified, I cut across the line. Yeah, there was a bit of interference, I feel like, in a big pressure situation, you know.
What are you taking away from this event?
Oh, probably last place. I don't know, headache. Yeah, shit hot saw. What else do you want?
If you have bad luck or if you did wrong, it's part, just your experience.
Oh my goodness, what an absolute disaster, the chain came off.
I was not disappointed because everybody see that I can be with the guys in front.
It was a bit of a disaster, so it was just operator error, and I didn't perform as well as I would have liked to.
Nice safe cut.
Oh no! Oh no!
Never prepared for that situation, but luckily it started and I got 3 wheels and now I'm the world champion.
Yeah, it's the make or break event, you know.
I think you love and you hate it.
Das ist eigentlich immer ein geiles Ding. Ich schneide immer sehr sicher.
What was going through your head when that gun fired? 4.62 seconds.
That's pretty hard to believe right there.
Just try to make 3 good cuts and no disqualification.
The hot saw is where it's all one, so that's the best event.
Hot saw, hot saw.
Did we promise too much?
No, not at all. There's no promising too much with the hot saw. It is drama pure. And like you saw in the clip there, anything can happen. A chain can come off. The saw won't start. You have to restart the saw. It's madness what happens out there with these machines, because it's like any fine-tuned high-performance vehicle motor. You know, you've got these tiny little nuances that are inside the motor and these tiny little bits of machinery that are rubbing so close together that anything can happen. You know, just have small bits and pieces that chip off and the motor's dead.
And I think we can even show some slow-mos backstage with the hot saws getting warmed up.
Oh, yes. That'd be good.
And I mean, that's a slow-mo.
That's a slow-mo, yeah, right. Eh? But you can see also there's the different styles of saw. There's the Wankel motor. That's the one that you're hearing. That's a really deep, grumbling motor. And I forget, the Rotax is the other motor. That's the one where you're hearing that high pitch, wee, 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 but they're both really, really loud. And then you've got the
I'm
different
not sure
kind
if
of...
it sounds exactly like that, but close.
Says, wee, 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 all the way home. But there's the two different bar types as well. There's the long, straight harvester bar that you see on the steel that we showed you earlier on. And then there's that big fat bar where the chain rolls over the top. Now, my opinion personally is that big fat bar is a little bit better for chain tension because it rolls over and you don't have that abrupt turn around the front of the bar at the jag wheel at the front. So...
yeah, you never know, and we've seen it all happen, and it's like you can see all of the athletes you know, shouting out a prayer before they go for it, and I'm sure all 6 athletes remaining here at the French Pro Championship 2024 will do the same. We're going to start with Pierre-Louis Poisson against Guillaume Moore, Adrien Courteau taking on Cyril Machal, and Alexandre Meurice against Pierre Puybaret. That's going to be the final heat. We're ready for the decision.
This is also something that's been new the last 3-4 years, is having 2 athletes on stage. It used to be traditionally a single athlete on stage, but since they've started using these Lexon shields, they've decided that they can go to head-to-head battles on stage. It's, again, it's not about the elimination, it's about the points. And there you can see the time came up really quickly for Pierre-Louis Poisson, 7:49 and or 7:59, excuse me. So as he is the 6th qualified athlete, he will be out on stage there with Guillaume Moore.
And it's so great to watch the crowd move past our studio.
Yeah.
We're really getting excited.
Yeah,
it's
they can hear the machinery, right? I mean, this whole festival and fair that's happening here, there's old school tractors, there's new modern ones. People are driving around on four-wheelers, and anytime any motor starts up, the people rush to it.
Here at the Parc des Expositions de Comminges.
Gesundheit.
Hey, great place.
Yeah, we had a little walk around earlier on. There's lots of stuff to see and do. Cows everywhere. Farming equipment.
Yeah,
but the highlight for me is definitely STIHL Timbersports. Similar situation to what we have in Malvern, just outside of... now I've just had a momentary lack of concentration there. Birmingham, just outside of Birmingham in England, where we do a little bit of glamping, and that's a really fun event as well up in Great Britain. Similar setup.
And it must be so tough for the athletes, you know, being in a waiting position. Crowd is enjoying it. We're enjoying it.
Yes.
But this is the final one. This is discipline number 6, and it's the 3rd round of 3.
This is where it all comes down. Here, 18 points are up for grab for the fastest athlete in this discipline. So if they can pull it off and get a real quick time, there could be a changing of the guard.
18 for the winner, 15 for the 2nd fastest time, and 12 for the 3rd fastest time. That's how we award these points.
Look at the sparks coming off that machine, hey? Holy moly. All right, so now is where the tension really starts to matter. You can see a little bit of a gap on that chain just below the bar. And this is what I'm talking about with those other bars. So the harvester bar there, it allows for a little bit more play in the chain than the other, the big fat belly bar.
30 seconds.
And here you can see the last setup. So you want to make sure that there's enough tension on that starter cord, and there's the safety cable as well. You want to make sure there's enough tension on that starter cord so that when you pull, there's no movement before the actual engagement on the starter coil there, the roll. And this is the only discipline with motor saw where it's let's call it a cold start.
Ready.
Here we go. First heat, folks. This is where all the marbles coming down.
2, 1, go.
Good start by both of these guys. Oh, Poisson looking very good here. Oh, he's going to have a fast time. Oh, 6.83 for Pierre Poisson. Fantastic time and a personal best. Guillaume Moore with an 8.91. And I don't know. He looked out and he was like, "Hey, what happened? Did I have a good time?
Was it me?"
Wow, what a run from Pierre Poisson. PLP, fantastic.
A great way to kick off this final discipline.
So we got smiles there. Oh, but I did see palms to the air from Bart Janssen. So maybe there's a DQ here. I don't know. I hope not.
I didn't see a yellow flag. So
no.
Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we have a DQ on this stand.
You're right.
And a good cut on this stand.
Damn, poor Guillaume Moore. He has not had a day with the motor saws, hey? It is just not his thing.
Imagine what would have been possible. He had a great day apart from these...
Yeah, for him,
cut the line, right?
That's a cut line, so he is DQ'd. So that means no points for him in this one, and that's his day for a podium hope done. But Pierre-Louis Poisson with an absolutely amazing cut. Let's watch this again here. He had no hesitation at all. He hung that saw, got into it, and he made 3 very good cuts with barely any transition. I mean, he can clean up those transitions, but that is such a beast saw to move around. Holy smokes. Quick look up, and he's collecting more sawdust in his beard than the skip out back.
And
you can see the angle here. Oh, yeah, right there. That big, fat second cookie. He didn't have a choice. He went in on the top there, and if he had a straight cut next to the line, he would have been okay, maybe at the bottom. But, yeah, he was just way on top of the line, so no chance for him at all.
And tell you what, if all athletes competing now have a DQ, Pierre-Louis Poisson will win the competition.
He will. All right, Adrien Courteau, Cyril Marchal. Ooh, Cyril Marchal with a 6:06 personal best. Let's see if he can make that happen.
Not bad at all.
It'll do.
Yeah, he would do.
There's that fat bar. I like those. That's my favorite.
I didn't notice, no. Your eyes shining every time you talk about it and take a closer look. Oh, those preparations. Let's shortly talk about those preparations. Every athlete does it individually, and it feels like it's very, very important. It's like a ritual.
It very much is a ritual, and because of the way and the nature of this particular discipline, they have to have everything absolutely perfect for their headspace. So all they have to do, start and cut. That's it. You know, you'll see guys put their fingers up against the handle to the block to make sure the distance between the handle and the block is right. They'll place their foot and they'll pace back. And I mean, there's all sorts of routines that these guys have, but it is very much routine that they want to make sure that they're set in so they absolutely know what everything is set in place. And so when they do pick up that saw, all they have to do is focus on the cuts. Right now, you know, we showed pictures of the guys warming up the saws in the back area. That's about making sure that all the components are working together in harmony with each other. And now this warm-up here is just to make sure that the motor is warm enough so that when they do fire it up, it's hot enough to go right away and there's not going to be any bogging on the motor. And that's one of the things that we saw in colder situations. The motor gets cold quickly and then it doesn't start up and you have a stall immediately, and that's trouble. And look at the angle of the saw there for Adrien Courteau compared to Cyril Marchal. You can see that Cyril's bar points upwards a little bit, so that could also be a lift and cut advantage for him too. You see?
Ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, very good start by Courteau. He's looking good. Second cut is up. And he's got 3 on the deck with a great time. 7:10 personal best. Marchal with a 9.67. And Adrien Courteau continues to impress with a fantastic run today. A 7:10 puts him in second position right now, and that puts him in second place in the overall standings. Will he hold on to that?
Exactly the same amount of points as Pierre-Louis Poisson. 57 points. Bob, I mean, of course, we still have one more heat coming up, but in that case, just as an explanation, it's the faster overall time if you have the same amount of points. Oh, what a great competition he's having.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations, both cuts are good.
So if I look at our score sheet here, Adrien Courteau has more higher points in each of the individual disciplines than Pierre-Louis Poisson. So if it does come down to a tie, it will be Adrien Courteau. But look at this cut. Just fantastic. Barely any swing on the transition on the upcut. A little bit of a high swing there. If he can get that under control, he's going to have incredibly fast times. And his exit out was just stylo.
I think it's Poisson who's up front because he has a faster total time of 3:37.27 compared to 3:37.37. So 10 seconds.
You could be right there.
And it should be Poisson.
Excuse me.
Who wins that race. But you can see how close these guys are together. It's crazy. And we still got the top two coming up, Maurice and Puybaret.
So again, Puybaret holding the national record, but
still,
that hasn't really been his advantage today. So Maurice, theoretically speaking, if I look at the points here, where's Maurice?
51 points for Maurice so far, and to Puybaret with 55.
So there's only 4 points separating them. So if Maurice wins and Puybaret gets third, then Maurice will be representing France in France.
Oh, that pressure, that pressure.
Oy, oy, oy. Craziness.
Holy moly. That is one of the most exciting national championships the French had for years.
Yeah, absolutely. And I said it before, and I really thought Guillaume Moreau was going to be more in the mix here. But unfortunately, that DQ in the stock saw, and then again DQ here was, that was the knife in his back. Yeah.
Okay. Warm up,
Alexander Maurice has been absolutely fantastic today.
And of course, these two athletes were the top two last year at the national championship as well. So are we going to see the revenge, or is the king still going to be the king for the 9th time?
9 times in a row would be an absolute fantastic record. I mean, you just can't scoff at the guy. He's consistent. No. He's consistent.
Yeah, and just imagine the drama, winning it 8 times and then you have the World Championship in your own country and you can't compete. So he's going to feel that pressure, I'm sure.
So Puybaret definitely has the power advantage here. But as I said earlier on with the single buck, Alexander Maurice, he plays bigger than he is.
I'm feeling the pressure. Oh. Really comes down to the very last cut, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's these little nuances, making sure that the ignition switch is on. We've seen it before where guys have had the thing off and couldn't start this off.
But Puybaret looks relaxed.
Oh, Maurice is quick! Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa!
He's so fast!
Maurice is fast! 6:23 personal best, 7:45 for Pierre Puybaret! That's 4th place in hot saw, and that means Alexander Maurice will win it if everything is okay with the cuts.
No way.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Can you believe it?
Let's see.
This is unreal. Let's wait.
Gentlemen, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
There you go.
Unbelievable.
That's it. Maurice wins it. And Alexander Maurice with a 6:25 personal best in the hot saw. Pierre Puybaret well off his personal best time at 7:34, puts him down in 4th place. We said if he gets 3rd or 4th in this, it's going to be Maurice's show, and that's exactly what's happened. Alexander Maurice is your French champion, and he will represent France
in Toulouse. It's the maker or the breaker. It always is. This is unreal. Nobody expected that to be.
No, 9th time is not the charm in this case for Pierre Puybaret. I mean, what can you say about Pierre Puybaret? He is consistency defined. If we look at the overall results here, Puybaret had 12 points in underhand, 9 in stock saw, 12 points in standing block. That means he won 2 of 3 disciplines there. And then he got 16 points in single buck. That's the best point in the top spot there. And then in springboard, he was a bit slow. And the springboard was really the difference maker for his points here.
Yeah,
if he had a better,
not on the level that we're used to.
Yeah, if he had a better run in springboard, this might not have been an issue for him. But he was so close with Maurice that he just couldn't make any mistakes at all here. And
but that's crazy. He won the underhand chop. He won the standing block chop. He won the single buck. And then you end up 2nd. It's...
Yeah, and Maurice, I mean, he was also very consistent.
Yeah, but he won the last 2 disciplines.
He won the last 2 disciplines, and that was the difference maker. That really was all he needed to do here in this competition. And he's done a fantastic job as we get ready for our awards ceremony, and a great job. I mean, big congratulations. He's been working hard, and I called it at the beginning of the show here. It was either going to be Maurice or more today, and it was Maurice.
Unbelievable. I'm very, very impressed, I have to say. So here we have the hot saw results, and this is the final result here at the STIHL Timbersports French Pro Championship 2024. And this is still going to be a bit of a surprise for a lot of people. With Alexandre Maurice becoming the new French Pro champion.
But you know what I think here? I think that because of the results that he's had here, it's going to be a huge confidence booster for him. And that will be a good thing for him going into the World Championships, because confidence can play a huge role in how guys are cutting and chopping. So I think that a win here today is going to be a big deal for him as he takes that definitely into that World Championship. And I mean, what a great day for him. He's been consistent throughout the day. He hasn't won anything except the last two events, but he stayed consistent, he stayed relaxed, he stayed calm, he did what he needed to do, and he is your new French champion.
Play. And I mean, Courtauld just missing that bronze medal just because of 10 seconds of overall time. Poisson ending up with a bronze. Being
and that's an unbelievable situation as well. Poisson just sneaking into the top 6 by the hair of his chinny chin chin, and there you go. He's a bronze medalist today. Great job.
That's amazing. I mean, how about that for a fantastic competition? French National Championships. You have been amazing, and of course we're happy to have the winners ceremony coming up in just a few moments. I still can't believe it. I still can't believe it.
Yeah, you mentioned it before. This is the most exciting French nationals that we've had in the last, I want to say, at least 5 or 6 years. And it's by virtue of these young guys coming up through the rookie ranks and then really taking over. Loïc Poisson is a good example of that. He did great today. A couple of small mistakes. Alexandre Maurice and Guillaume Moore, both of them, you know, they've been right there for the last few years, and now we've seen that one step taken by Maurice, and there you go, your new champion. Fantastic.
Oh, he's going to be so happy. That's going to be very interesting to see what he has to say.
He's going to be pumped. There's going to be French bread and bubbly for him tonight for sure.
Yeah, well deserved. Well deserved. So we're just waiting for the stage to get ready for the big winner ceremony, and I mean, just taking a look at the crowd out there, it's people talking, still saying, "Oh, can you believe it? This is crazy."
But the thing that's really, really interesting here is that, you know, even with the rain and even with the you know, usually by the time the award ceremony comes up, the crowd kind of dwindles and drifts away. But we're not seeing that here. We're seeing the faithful hanging there at the front, and yeah, they're really here to see and watch this award ceremony.
Oh, we're going for it. Looks like it. Referees, they did a great job as always.
As always.
But it's always worth mentioning because we feel like it's normal, you know, when everything works a treat and all those close decisions, you know.
Yeah. They really do a good job of maintaining the status quo on stage for fairness, which is very, very important. So Radu Kazaku and Bart Janssen on stage, and of course Sjoerd Janssen in the competition control center and his crew in there as well. I mean, he's not alone in there. He's got other people down there as well. And, you know, we also have to mention the stage crew here.
Oh, yeah.
The stage crew do such a fantastic job of making sure that the stage is prepped and ready for each discipline, and especially during the springboard action with all of the work that has to go in to get those springboards set up. Yeah. They really do deserve a big pat on the back. Or a pat on the bum, team sports, whatever you prefer. And, you know, we got to give them a big...
Look at the smile, by the way.
Yeah, I got to give them a big props there.
Oh,
Giguet coming on stage. Fantastic.
Gilles Giguet, 10th position. I mean, impressive.
And he's 64 years young. I mean, that is a man to be impressed by and to ask questions. How do you do it, you know?
I will. Julien Meyer, obviously enjoying himself. Christophe Trinca made it to the top 8.
Yeah.
Well done. Nice to see all athletes back on stage again. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Loïc Poisson ending up 7th today with 36 points.
We'll see that change in the next few years. I mean, he's still a young guy. He's still developing. He's only been a pro, I believe, since 2 years or 1.5 years maximum. So, I mean, we're going to see him definitely get up there. And there's Alexander Moore. And unfortunately for him, it just wasn't his day. Or Guillaume Moore, excuse me. It just wasn't his day. The motor saws disciplines were the death of him today.
Apart from that, I mean, brilliant. Winning the...
Cyril Marchal, the legend.
Look at that. That's the spirit we're talking about. I mean, this community here at STIHL Timbersports.
It's a family. It's a family. We've talked about this very often, but on this young man here, Adrien Courteau, just absolutely fantastic.
Definitely one to watch.
French Pro Championships 2023. Excuse me, I mentioned earlier that this was his first, but it's not. He was 3rd place at the French Pro Championships last year. So, yeah, he did a great job. For me, it was a big surprise, and I was really happy to see that. He was 4th at the French Rookie Cup 2017, talking about Adrien Courteau. And now we're among our top 3 guy here, and Pierre-Louis Poisson coming on stage there. Look at that
Seems
smile.
To be very
hey,
happy, huh?
That's a smile.
Silver medalist. But I'm enjoying to see he's still all smiles, even though he must be very unhappy.
He's a competitor. He wants to win every time. And by virtue of doing it 8 times prior, you know that he wants to win every time.
Going into the competition as a favorite, knowing that you have the World Championships just around the corner. Feel a bit sorry for him, I have to say.
Yeah. But that's sport. That's the nature of the beast.
Time to say hello to the STIHL Timbersports French National Champion 2024. You can't really believe it yet, can you?
Yeah, it was coming. I mean, 22, he got 12th place. 23, he jumped up to 2nd place. And this year, he takes the top of the podium. So it was on its way. He just needed that one little step, and he took it today.
And it looks like all the competitors seem to be very happy for him, watching that progress that he's done.
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, why wouldn't they? It's a good thing for... Fantastic. A hop up. And look at him. He's the same height as Pierre Puybaret now. Not quite. So, like I mentioned, he's a small guy that plays a big game. And he did it today. Absolutely fantastic.
Brilliant stuff. So we've got Christophe Laforgue, the director du Salon Les Pyrénées, handing over the prize for the bronze medalists. And now it's Jérôme Adou, the président du Salon Les Pyrénées. And finally, I've been told Magali Gaston-Oustric, the présidente de la communauté de communes Cœur des Coteaux de Comminges.
Wow.
Comminges, excusez-moi. Great picture, look at that. Top 3 here at STIHL Timbersports French National Championship 2024. So the French Timber Sports family getting together for a family picture.
And a family drink, I'm sure, shortly.
I wonder what that's going to be. What a great crowd. Look at Pierre-Louis Poisson. I mean, he's having the time of his life. Still got some wood in his beard.
Yeah.
Great performance.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Those winner ceremonies, it's always something special. Brilliant.
Sometimes they're a little funnier, sometimes they're a little weirder, but yeah, it was great to see those guys on the sodium. Alexander Maurice, what a great job that he did today. And I mean, like you mentioned as well, it's been the most exciting French championship in years.
It's been crazy. And of course, for the European rankings, that also means something very special. Maurice is in the top 11, but
he's in the mix, but he'll be there anyway because France is hosting.
Yes.
So it's just about the remaining top 7 nations in the European rankings that will be joining Alexander Maurice in the finals
so the
at the individual.
Athletes is not going to be part of the game.
Unfortunately.
We know that already.
Yep.
And no changes with Glenn Pendleton and the Austrian Armin Kugler still being in the mix for the moment.
Right, for the moment. But there are still 2 more national championships to come in Switzerland and in the Czech Republic. And after those, we'll have a better idea of everything. And so there you see our final results.
Congratulations one more time to Alexandre Maurice taking the title. Pierre Puybaret, I mean, amazing. 8 wins and 1 silver medal in the last 9 years. And Pierre-Louis Poisson with a great performance, winning bronze just by being 10 seconds faster than Adrien Courteau. That's crazy.
Yeah, and his last hot saw cut was really amazing to watch. I enjoyed that thoroughly. Very good.
I haven't had more fun than today for a long time. I hope you guys at home enjoyed it just as much as we did. Maybe say goodbye with the highlights of the day. How about that?
I would say that's a great idea. Enjoy it, folks. Ciao.